Easiest PvP experience. I was hoping, you know,
gonna do that, which is kind of fucked up because you're gonna have people who aren't the actual legit soldiers play soldiers, and it's gonna be bad.
yeah.
Gladly, if you want to use the National Guard, a governor of that state is in direct control of the National Guard, so Trump has no control over that. If you have a guy who's like in a blue state and Trump orders him to use the National Guard, he can refuse, and Trump cannot do shit about it, you know, because directly the governor
happen to hear something, it takes away all of the weight and momentum. But this is going to come back later. I do want to put this out later because, like I said, I thought that this was interesting, but I will be harping on it later. So, we are now introduced to our main character, Jeff, a young man, presumably mid-teens, because once again, God forbid they give us any kind of age to really give an idea. Not even like a grade, like they say, because the whole thing here is...
The license plate reads 3CP 462. Right. Now, this is a reference to SCP-462, codenamed the Getaway Car. And the Getaway Car is described as being a rusty El Camino, Chevy El Camino. Alright, I'm gonna jump right into this, because I don't know. Also, I'm testing out the audio right now. I was changing and messing around with the settings before I got on today. I was really trying to make some magic happen. Let me see, testing 1, 2. The magic seems like it works, kind of. Not really. I mean, actually, no, it doesn't work. Scratch that. It doesn't work at all. My initial plans to make all this go down and the audio shit, whatever. I was trying to make it so that the music that I play is not like picked up on the recordings that end up being uploaded. It didn't work. So, yes, fart. That's how I felt once I booted it up and I didn't hear a single goddamn thing. That's actually why I had to stop the stream, start it back up. But I digress. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm on. I was able to fix the, I was able to put a temporary solution to the problem. So I'm still gonna have to deal with the music being added to the VOD after it gets uploaded. Maybe I'm gonna have to do some extra stupid shit. I was really trying to avoid having to download an extra fucking program and what have you. I'd rather just do it with the settings in OBS, so I'm not making some fucking weird ass like Frankenstein solution to my problems or whatever. But good morning, also Sinister Alice. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. I'm streaming a little early today because I got work later. I got a few things to take care of. In terms of like news, in terms of like newsworthy info and events, not much has happened since I've been on, because I was on last night. You know, it's only been a few hours since, you know, the day's starting for everyone. So, in short, I was basically awake much earlier than most evil characters in the world before they do all their evil deeds, right? So, that being said, I'm gonna take this last dab, quickly go over some of the new updates that have popped up on my feed, I guess, and then we're gonna get to to some nitty gritty or whatever. We're about to wade through the radioactive wastes of the fallout of, was it Ethan Kline's Hasan content nuke. Alright. And I will say this right now, I do not like Hasan Piker. I do not like him. He is a traitorous, anti-American fucking piece of shit who too often calls for violence against American citizens in this country, as well as posts not just content, but the actual people who make said content of terrorist organizations and people who have done actual war crimes and crimes against humanity, right? All for the memes, all for the the idea that he's supposedly some communist fucking guy who's cool and wants to bring like cool shit to the United States by making it all fucking like Marxist and whatever the hell he thinks is gonna happen, right? He wants to get rid of capitalism. He's at least an al-Ghaib, right? He's at least an al-Ghaib of the tankies, of the far left. And you know, fuck that guy. It makes me mad when I see him being treated by some other people that are Democrats and like left-leaning, treating him as if he's somebody that would support him, right? So like recently, he had Bernie Sanders of all people on his stream and he interviewed him because Hasan Piker likes to cosplay as a journalist, right? He pretends to be a journalist. He's not a journalist. He's a fucking ask any hard-hitting questions. He never pushes on like the issues that are important when he's speaking to people who are probably important, like when he had that Houthi terrorist on his stream that everybody calls Tim Houthi Chalamet. Was it Tim Houthi Chalamet? Because apparently he looks like Timothy Chalamet. He's a Houthi terrorist. He's a kid. He's a young kid. Is this guy right here? Hasan Piker had this actual terrorist on his stream, and it's confirmed that he's a terrorist. A lot of his like, you know, supporters will carry water for Hasan and say, oh, he's actually just some Yemenis kid. He wasn't anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you know, he was on his stream talking about how he has been quote unquote, hanging out with some of the people that some Houthi pirates had taken hostage and were holding for years with very little information coming out about them. He apparently was just hanging out with them and chilling with them at some point. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just trying to paint the picture on how I feel about Hasan and why I really dislike what he has done, especially when it comes to the left media sphere. Because of his influence, it made it much more difficult for the Democrats and any left-leaning politicians to be able to garner support from other left-leaning people, because Hasan has been pushing the same type of propaganda and, I guess, speech, rhetoric, ideology that the far right people have, right? Hasan unironically looks very similar and acts very similar to MAGA, right? If Hasan was a politician, or if he had a lot more power in the United States and he ran for president, he would definitely be the Donald Trump of the communists, far left communists, not all communists, the tankies, super tankies. Right, because I know like regular communists are a lot more reasonable than this piece of shit. But again, he made it much more difficult. He muddied the water, and he harped on painting this idea that it's somehow possible and actually the preferred option to only have a one-state solution in Gaza by having Palestine take over I mean, not, yeah, to having Palestine and Hamas take over completely, remove Israel, dissolve it, and return everything back to Hamas, which was a bad idea, of course, because if you look for a brief second, you look at the creed, the fucking creed. It's like it's on their it's like their fucking logo, right? It says death to all Jews. It says death to fucking America. It says curse upon the Jews. Like these people are not going to just accept the Jewish people of Israel and integrate them back into society without violence. It's not going to happen. They want to kill them all. So one state solution that Hasan keeps pushing for and keeps influencing a lot of young voters into believing is somehow the right decision is actually going to lead to much worse death, right? And why is he against the Democrats? He says that he is against genocide, right? He doesn't want to support people who are supporters of a genocide, right? And this is where the big fucking issue lies, right? Let me take a sip before I dive into this. Hold on. Calling the issue that's happening in Gaza, right, between Israel and Palestinians is not a genocide. What it is a horrible massacre. It's a tragedy. It's a fucking waste of a tragic waste of human life, right? Destruction of places on an untold scale, but it's not a genocide. And I'll tell you why it's not a genocide. If it was a genocide, not only would Gaza and the Palestinians have zero fucking support flowing in, everybody you would attempt to would be killed. There would not even be a ceasefire right now, let alone anything at all. And the craziest part about this is if it was a genocide, if it was a systematic execution and removal of all these fucking people, right? The numbers and the death toll would be way fucking higher than it actually is right now. I'm talking about way higher. Like, there would be no help coming into Gaza if they had wanted it to be like that, right? There's a lot more that goes on to calling something a genocide, and as I know this sounds like a semantics game, but in this situation, it is actually incredibly important. It's incredibly important to correctly identify and distinguish the situation that's happening over there so we can respond to it in a way that makes sense, right? And it makes sense, right? We do see groups in Israel and IDF committing war crimes, right? Probably most likely in every single situation I have read, they've been acting against what is supposed to be their orders and doing things that they're not supposed to do. There's an argument to be had that Netanyahu doesn't give a fuck about reprimanding soldiers to do shit like that, right? I would support that argument. I think what he's doing is fucked up. That is horrible. But again, if it was a systematic genocide, we would see things like we saw in Germany in World War II, where people are getting put into trains, getting sent to camps, getting rounded up and getting executed in mass, right? We wouldn't just be seeing bombs being dropped on buildings, right? Because there's a lot more to a genocide than that. And if we look at the sheer numbers of it, less than 1% of the population has been killed. Less than 1%. If it's a genocide, it's a very ineffective genocide, right? It doesn't make sense for Israel to be still at the end of the day adhering to the pressures of outside international communities that have been supporting them with arms and stuff like that. The reason why America hasn't completely pulled out from the support of this war is because they know that the tragedy that would happen if Israel were to fall is way worse, way fucking worse than anything that we could possibly imagine that's happening right now. Way worse, okay? We're talking about that would actually start a real genocide. That would actually start a real genocide. These people have not been accepted by the neighboring regions for a very fucking long time, even before the British Mandate and before this had all started, right? In a modern sense. I'm not talking about the ancient sense. I'm talking about the modern sense, right? These people, some of them have not known any other place. Right? I'm not like the current generations of Israelis that live there, some of them, and including the ones that had came before them, have known nowhere else beyond that region. They were born there, their culture was there, everything that they are is there. All right. So a lot also, don't forget, a lot of Arabs also live in Israel and are Israeli citizens, right? There are Palestinians that live in Israel that are Israeli citizens. We need to also remember this. There's a bigger picture here to be looked at and to examine. That's all I'm trying to get at. And Hasan Nuke has single-handedly done way more damage than he likes to admit to not only this situation, but to the United States of America in general in terms of its influence of voters, right? Because I know there wasn't enough voters that voted third party that could have changed the election, but there was way more than enough voters who didn't vote at all that could have changed the election, and were definitely more likely to vote left and not against Trump than they would have for Trump or not voted at all, which in my mind is the same exact shit, right? So we're about to hop into that. I'm glad I laid out and painted the picture of my stance in Hasan Nuke, right, as well as with the Israel-Hamas situation. And before I move on, one last thing. This is my solution to what I think that they should do, even though I'm a fucking nobody, right? But after reading and taking the advice and consideration of other professionals who do know a lot more than me, this is what I've come to the conclusion, understanding that the only way forward is 100% a two-state solution, a fair two-state solution. However, all the international communities, all of them, need to threaten to withhold support from either side unless they figure this shit out. Because all the international communities that are involved are giving incentive to both sides to never stop fighting. They have all the incentive in the world to never stop fighting. They need to sit these motherfuckers down and say, hey, if you don't stop this shit and just integrate and make a two-state solution, Hamas, Israel is not going to get any more funding, not going to get any more their weapons, not going to get any more fucking support, protection, right? And Hamas and Palestine is also not going to get any more shit. Like, they're just not going to get any more humanitarian stuff, anything. Just completely cut them off and force their hand into agreeing into a two-state solution. It's the only way forward. It's the only way forward. Either way, if Israel gets whatever the fuck they want and they fucking win and they keep expanding, all these people are gonna fucking die, and we're gonna see a way worse situation because the settlements are fucked up. They shouldn't be doing that. If fucking Israel loses and Hamas wins, we're gonna see a genocide of Jewish people again, and it's gonna be absolutely brutal. But that's it. I swear that's it. That's all I gotta say. Musk says Doge is halting the treasury payments to U.S. contractors for now. Apparently saying that there's a misuse of the funds in the Treasury Department, claiming that they were giving like charity to refugees and all this kind of other shit. Woke mind virus stuff that they were afraid of and they didn't like, so they decided to not pay people in the government, right, for their jobs and shit. Texas National Guard has granted the authority to make immigration arrests, right? So we're going to be seeing National Guard, specifically in Texas, being able to do things that they usually are not able to do when it comes to immigration and deportation. They're going to be basically on the front lines in these roundups. And this is actually important for what we're about to watch. This right here. Palestinians released by Israel show signs of torture and starvation. There has been a lot of, extreme left-leaning propaganda coming out showing that trying to paint the picture that the terrorists that held these hostages for such a long time, away from their families, away from, their homes and stuff like that, that they actually treated them very nicely, and that these people actually enjoyed their time being a hostage somehow, and that they weren't being raped or abused or any of these other fucking horrific things that they were 100% were going through, based solely on the optics that these terrorists were able to paint and easily manipulate, right? They clearly were abused in their time as hostages. It wasn't all fucking parties and happiness and sunshines and daisies. I don't know why they would. It's so crazy that these people would jump to the conclusion that somehow this is what had happened, right? It's not that. And there's a lot of other types of other hostages that have been released that have been talking about their time with them and how horrible it was, right? This whole, what is it? I guess rewriting of history or whatever that Hasan's been doing has been very influential, right? And has expanded to a lot of young minds. He's essentially created his own type of cult. Elon Musk says he and Trump are shutting down U.S. aid. Again, same reasons as the getting rid of the funding for contractors. Literally the same shit. Diversity, equity, inclusion, all that kind of other dumb stuff. And that's everything since last night. Let's get into the heart of it. Let's get out our Geiger counters. Put on your fucking hazmat suit. Shield your eyes because it's about to get nasty.
Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture Bhagavad Gita.
Vishnu.
Takes on multi-armed form and says,
Vishnu.
now I am come death.
Destroyer of the worlds. Happy birthday, Hasan. Happy birthday.
Oh, hi there. It's me, your old friend, Ethan Kline.
Oh, for
It's been a
those who
while
don't
since we've
know-
last spoken. In that time, I've had 3 kids.
Before we dive into this, the guy who makes this video, his name's Ethan Kline. They've been having an ongoing feud for quite a while. Back in the days, Hasan and Ethan had made content together. They had a falling out based on the whole two-state solution that I just ranted about for a few seconds, I want to say a few minutes. And he has been constantly being attacked by Hasan's audience and supporters, as well as other tankies, and I guess any tankie is really a supporter of Hasan now, right? But they've all been attacking him and his content and the people that, you know, his girlfriend and his family and other friends that he ends up doing content with as well. They've been all brigading and attacking him online everywhere. So this is like his magnus opus, I guess, in his war against Hasan.
All boys, I've lost 100 pounds, and I've pissed off 75% of the internet.
They used to
Probably
make
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
you
content
guys
about
do.
stuff.
Actually
for
talking
the
about there
years.
at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas. Someone should
Oh yeah, and I got a tattoo also, so I'm cool like that now. Left or right, I always thought that, despite our differences, there was one thing we could all agree on. And what was that? That we love America. And
America,
everything
baby.
she stands for.
America! America!
Sure, there's plenty to criticize and endless things to improve, but I thought it was about making a more perfect union, not tearing it down.
Marching bands, a pride that
You know
only
who,
The thing is, there's
you know who hates America? Hasan Piker.
something kind of scary brewing in America. Communism.
Can I get that commie?
America to me.
Commie alert.
I started a show a couple of years ago with my acquaintance, Hassan Piker.
You're
you
a
might
commie.
remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it. Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers.
I want to say that's probably his most famous quote at this point. I feel like a lot of people know he said that. America deserved 9/11.
It's in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. That's not what I said. You dumb cracker bitch.
and of course, the Leftovers podcast, which was our show, which we made broadly to goof on the antics of the right. Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
There was Ethan Kline being a delightful human being.
I was just gonna say, if there's another Holocaust, if they start rounding up the Jews again, I hope Ben gets killed.
Damn. Holy
He
shit.
presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things. And we went on making the show for about 2 years, and everything was good. Everyone was having fun, the audience was having fun, no problem. That was until this happened. We were doing our regular show, and for the first time I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. I don't hate the idea of like people who can be successful. I think it's good that people can achieve success in the term monetary success. I mean, that's what that means, right? I do. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
I see so many people in the chat saying no.
I don't know what y'all are shipping.
Clearly I'm not a big fucking streamer. I don't know what this feels like, but I'm going to try my best. If I ever do build, viewers and stuff like that, I'm gonna cater. Not cater. I want to sculpt my audience. I want to make sure that my audience doesn't end up being filled with a bunch of people that I don't share the same headspace with, right? I don't want to have a whole audience that expects of me things that I don't agree with, or follow, or subscribe to, and I also want to influence people who may be hearing me who may not initially agree with me to kind of consider my points and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot harder to do that if my audience is filled with a bunch of people who are just like ready to turn on me any instant because
about like what the fuck do you
What is the idea
because of
that
some
you
bullshit
are
like
looking
this.
for?
You guys are all like radical communists. There's that many radical communists.
Which is also why I make it very clear my points. I need to always make clear my points. I want to make clear my position. I want to make sure that everyone understands exactly where I stand, and that doesn't get muddied in the water.
Get chat. You're watching a capitalist pig. Deal with it.
And then this happened. This comment from Hasan really started to sound some alarms in my head.
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party,
He has
which
Tourette's,
would
that's
surely
why he's doing
exist,
that.
what would you do if that party started gaining momentum?
The solution to that would always be education and offering more
Re-education?
re-education.
Do you hear
Certainly,
this?
there should be an enforcement mechanism, and in that enforcement mechanism, I think like rehabilitation, which would include re-education as well.
No, what? You hear this? He wants to re-educate people. Fucking throw them in camps and re-educate people. This is what I mean. But this is not a one-off. This is not a one-off at all, actually. This is his bread and butter,
Being
actually.
capitalists in re-education camps isn't disturbing enough. I started to notice that Hasan was carrying a lot of water for communist states' war crimes and genocides.
What do you call Crimea? I call it a part of Russian territory, bitch. That's what I call Crimea. I call it Crimea River, a Russian river.
Oh, God. How?
Annexation of Crimea is absolutely justifiable.
I think he takes this, if I'm not mistaken, he's also taking the position right now that Ukraine is at fault for why it got invaded. Can you imagine that? Victim blaming a whole country? They got invaded, bro. Like, what?
Annexation.
What?
Tibet was literally a fucking feudal slave mandate, autonomous zone.
China did them a favor.
That was one. I mean, in America, when I say something like this, people get very upset. You know, we talk about the Dalai Lama saying "suck my tongue" or whatever, but like that's not far from the norm in fucking normal Tibetan existence before the Communist Party came in and
China unilaterally took over Tibet,
like
well,
these are
their culture. They basically are trying to, homogenize the culture.
if your culture,
They're trying to spoil the religion and the identity.
the part of
they did them
feudal
a
war.
favor.
See, what he's doing right now, and Ethan at this moment was trying to, like, do some, damage control, I guess, with these statements. He is trying to carry water for other supposed communist leaders who are literally like dictators and did horrible shit. And when you say re-education, those, like the Chinese dictator, for example, had these camps where they tried to re-educate them out of their own culture into believing something else. And the craziest part about all this is that there may be differences in terms of the types of people and the groups that they were in, but their political beliefs were all very much similar. And who were they? They were the leftists. They were the liberals, right? It was the progressives, essentially. And if you at all believe in anything, in any ideology that kind of sounds like you just want things to improve in the best way that they can, that's a progressive ideology. So even that could could get you
slavery,
fucked up.
abolishing that, yes, I do think that is good.
No, China did them a favor.
This is a good way to describe Taiwan as well. The American federal government going to the fucking South and killing, unfortunately not all of them, but a decent amount of slavers and defenders of slavery. This is violent retribution from a powerful federal government that squashed, okay?
That is the South in the Civil War.
Yes.
And most disturbingly, a complete whitewashing of the Chinese genocide against their Muslim minority group, the Uyghurs.
Don't they have Uyghur death camps? Is that?
It's not a death camp. They were re-education camps, and they're no longer in operation.
Is that
according to the Associated Press?
Okay. I saw the documentary, and I don't know.
Like trying to make it sound like it wasn't that big of a deal.
I don't know the surrounding narrative or anything about it, but it was about they were.
Laugh so I don't cry.
They would be able to procure organs.
No, that's not. No,
I'm telling you, they were in China.
Okay, that one is like Shenyun, Falun Gong.
You an organ. From a Uyghur. But why is that really that crazy?
I can't believe this.
Wrote an article.
No, I can't believe it. I can believe it because it's just well within Hasan's actions
all the
and
concentration camps are closed
behaviors.
now. It's like all the re-education camps are closed now in fucking Xinjiang, and it's like very different vibes in Xinjiang. And now it's the tourism hour.
Let's see what the Associated Press
tourism
actually has to say
hour?
about this. These are
The tourism hour? Oh my god. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. But I need someone else to understand why I was frustrated enough with Bernie Sanders to fucking call his office and his whoever was in charge of passing on these messages to call them and be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing talking to this guy as if he's just some fucking normal ass person? It's fucking crazy.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You know how much I fucking sacrifice? You know how much this country sacrificed? It's crazy. This country sacrificed so much to get where it is, and people like this motherfucker's about to derail the whole thing. But yes, ill Fox News, fuck them. Fuck them. Ironically, like I said before, you go far enough, if you go extreme enough, you go full circle. So, him, Hasan, very far left. Eventually, you start to adopt the same characteristics, personalities, behaviors, fucking ways of logic and reasoning as right-wingers, as extreme writers, as MAGA, as fucking Fox News.
from the last 2 years.
They sound
UK
similar. They
independent
say
body
ask for the
reports
same
China
things.
committed genocide in Xinjiang. China sanctioned a U.S. research firm and 2 individuals over a report about the human rights violations in Xinjiang.
It's the tourism hour.
It's a
China's
tourism
fury,
hour.
UN accuses Beijing of Uyghur rights abuses.
Tourism hour.
Uyghur County in China has the highest prison rate in the world. 1 in 25 people is in a Chinese prison.
It's the tourism hour.
48 Uyghurs.
You know, he's trying to make it seem like, communism's fucking awesome, right? It works, right? And apparently, it only looks bad because, the media is trying to make it look bad and this, that, and third. What's going on, Johnny? How's it going, man? I'd give you a fist bump if I could, but I can't. I hope everything's going good. I'm about to take a dab for you. But they're trying to make it seem like these communist countries that are being ruled by a dictator. And, remind you, I don't think these dictator quote-unquote communist countries are actually running communism in the way that Marx had intended for it to be. Most of the time, it's like some fucked version where they're just trying to secure more power for themselves, right? This carrying water for situations like this is absolutely insane, right? And how does Hasan get away with convincing so many people that this is the reality situation, that his version of reality is the actual reality? He never engages with the content. So if he says something, he's not gonna, that's definitely not true. When he's making these points like this, he's not gonna look it up and pull it up on stream or anything like that. He's just gonna say it and insinuate that it has to be fucking true to his audience, right? That's why he won't ever look at this kind of stuff. I don't even think he would actually play this. I'll be surprised, very surprised if he plays this video and watches it in full on his stream. But even then, he's garnered a cult. He's going to make sure that they follow and obey no matter what, and that they listen to any opinions that he has and forces everyone else to hear him. I was clicking on that. It won't let me send it or any of the other ones. Wait, what is it? What were you saying? What is that reference to? Did I say something? I can't remember. My fucking nose is so itchy. I don't know what the hell. The channel point. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Oh, I gotta fix that one. You know what? That's the one. I forgot about that. I totally forgot. Thank you for reminding me. Well, let me write this down. Write it down on a notepad because I was supposed to do that like a long time ago. I completely forgot. All right, cool. You got plenty of points. I'm gonna fix up the point system because I know it's been like a little like wacky dacky and shit. It's got a little bit of rust and dust on it.
Detained in Thailand for almost 11 years on hunger strike to protest their imminent deportation to China, where they face imprisonment or execution.
Not only does this AP article seem not to exist, reading the AP proved exactly the opposite. Hasan has happily eaten up the Chinese propaganda on this and has regurgitated it to his mainstream audience.
Yep.
Why is he defending China's genocide of their Muslim population? How does
And again, this is actually propaganda from those governments. Like, he's not coming to these conclusions himself. These are specifically created to convince gullible people from outside the country, like Hassan Piker, into believing that their version of reality is a reality.
Does this even make sense? It only makes sense if A, he's being paid, or B, he has the political complexities of a 5-year-old. I know America
There's only two. Yep, that's perfect. He could have said it better. There's only two options here. Either Hassan's retarded or he's being paid. It's either or.
Is a meme that people laugh at online. But with Hasan, this does actually seem to be the beginning and the end of his analysis.
Two principles. Let me explain to you. Two principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. So when I look at other countries, I look at the...
Oh, by the way, this is kind of funny to say this. He says he's claiming he's Turkish, right? He does this thing where he claims different types of nationalities, right? He's mixed, right? So he pulls the card out whenever it's more convenient, right? And he claims to have such a fucking vast knowledge of these things while being so fucking wrong at the same
regional
time.
actor, whoever the regional power player is, and then I look at who is backed by the Western superpowers. That's a principle that you could take home with you. If you want to actually be moral or if you want to be smart about the way you analyze other countries, that's one basic principle that you can take home with you. All of a sudden, magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You're going to be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
After seeing all of this, I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership.
Bro,
I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
He's like a millionaire, by the way.
This happened.
We have breaking news out of Israel this morning where Hamas has launched a surprise attack within Israel's borders overnight.
After the shock of October 7th, I noticed a huge increase of anti-Semitic comments from Hasan's stream and Discord, including from his head mod. I was disturbed that Hasan was seemingly okay with this.
Can you do you care that your chat is calling you racist? Do you make any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that
I have not looked at my chat at all. But you.
I just opened it. But don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about?
He's such a liar.
There's 32,000 people in here right now.
By the way, he looks at his chat all the fucking time. This guy has a huge ego. This dude is a millionaire, and he constantly floats off. He shows off his expensive shirts and his fucking nice car and all this kind of shit that he spent money on. And supposedly he's this big communist guy, you know, gotta fucking share the wealth, fucking kill the rich and eat the rich and all that stuff. He's rich. He's literally that guy. And he keeps acting like he's not that guy. And then he keeps also acting stupid to stuff like this, where his audience is clearly leaning a certain way, clearly, attacking his guests and shit. And he doesn't give a fuck. He acts like he's not looking when he's very much looking. He cares a lot about what people think about him. He cares a lot. It hurts him. I know that he's going to be pretty pissed off about this video coming out in the first place, right? So he 100% is looking at the chat, and he definitely has a lot more power and control over the chat than he admits.
I'm just trying to tell you guys how it feels, and I'm fucking shocked that you don't care that people in your chat are saying, "Who the fuck is this child, cold, arrogant?"
Eden, I love you, but there's only so much I can do.
How can you be surprised when your
There's only so much. They're not doing anything.
Eden, I love you, but there's only so much I can do if you're making that argument. You know that, right?
Hasan's chat has been calling me a Zionist, baby-killing genocider.
Maybe it is unreasonable that I'm asking him to moderate his chat for a friend. He doesn't even know where I'm coming from because it's not something he would ever ask for.
And all these other content creators actually, whipping their communities when their chat is going fucking absolutely bananas over random dumb shit and bringing my name up for no fucking reason. That you were just allowing that shit to run random in your chat, and I thought that was fucked up. And I love you, but there's only so much I can do, especially as someone who thought we were fucking friends. I think that's a reasonable expectation for someone who you consider to be a friend.
The problem wasn't that he was pro-Palestinian.
It's like he's never got into
and
a
I've been a
fist fight
stalwart
before.
supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years. The problem with Hasan's coverage, and a lot of people like him, was their complete lack of empathy for the Jewish people who were frankly slaughtered by Hamas. He refused to show even a crumb of empathy for the Jewish victims. But listen
There's
to what
no
this guy has to
empathy
say.
at all in Hasan. I don't see any empathy at all, period, in Hasan when he's talking about tragedies. Right? He watches this shit like it's fucking entertainment. He's eating food, he's chilling, he's vibing, he's doing the thing, right? I don't see any empathy at all. This is just content for him to eat up.
You might have seen there was some sort of raid or desert party where they were having a great time until the resistance came and electrified hang gliders and took at least several dozen hipsters. But I'm sure they were very fine to fight with the New York Post says. But nobody has seen this coming.
They're clapping and cheering some of this shit.
Yeah, okay. Like, okay.
This is where unironically, they end up doing way more damage to the people in Palestine than they like to admit, right? They don't actually care for a resolution to the war. What they care more about is the destruction of America, as well as sticking it back to the Dems, making sure that the Democrats and the liberals or whatever don't get the things that they want, even if the things that they want will benefit them or would actually save lives rather than kill them, right? That's not the goal. It's not the goal. If it was the goal, and if they did have empathy and sympathy for these people, they would do a lot more than this, right? And they wouldn't get in the way. They wouldn't get in the way of shit. They wouldn't get in the way of like the resolution of peaceful stuff and the saving of lives by openly supporting terrorism, openly supporting terrorist acts, openly supporting like rapists and murders and horrible fucking disgusting deplorable shit just because they're one side that they like is winning and the other side is losing.
Times that
In
he
a
and his
certain
audience barely
situation.
thought of Israelis as humans.
This dude just called babies militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But there are baby settlers as well. There are babies in the settlements.
Baby settlers. Baby settlers.
Sense for Hamas is downplaying the violence, specifically the sexual violence.
If you say that, like, how do you expect anyone to think that your perspective on the Jewish people is anything less but filled with hate? Like, all I'm seeing is hatred there. If you're gonna portray literal children, like 1-year-olds, as somehow being oppressing to the Palestinian people, that's fucking crazy.
She's done a lot of.
Doesn't matter if fucking rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
So he doesn't even care. He doesn't even care about the context of the violence. He doesn't even care about that. He doesn't care about the level of violence that had happened against Israeli people or Jewish people because he doesn't care about those people. He doesn't care about human life. He only cares about one side winning, his side winning, communism winning. Fuck the Democrats. Fuck the liberals, right? And fuck, according to Hasan, Jewish people.
Oh, that's the other part of this problem that many people that can't contend with. Like, the Palestinian resistance is not perfect. They're not like so good. They have magical bullets. The Palestinian resistance.
Sorry about the rapes.
They're not like so good. They have magical bullets. It's not perfect.
Of course, if you compare the raw numbers, Gazans have lost a lot more than Israelis. 40,000 people have died, and neighborhoods have been completely flattened during this war. And while we should keep their plight at the top of our minds at all time, it also doesn't mean that we should disregard the lives of the Jewish people who are also affected by this, even if their suffering on the whole is not as great. Some of you may know that
You need to look at the whole picture. You need to look at everything that is going on and the reason why people have chosen the positions that they have when it comes to our politicians and international governments, right? You need to look at the whole picture. They're trying to prevent a waste of human life. They don't want more death. They don't want more destruction. They don't want more chaos. They don't want more evil, essentially, to just flow through the region, right? To think that everybody who's involved internationally wants exactly that, while they continuously do things that would prolong that like conclusion from even happening, right? And they do things that doesn't even make fucking sense with that idea, right? They're trying to paint, like, for example, Kamala Harris as being a supporter of the genocide while completely ignoring, like how Ethan said, the plight of the Jewish people. Like, why are they even there in the first place? Where can they go from here? Like, how do you think the people that the other Arab nations that exist in the region, how do you think they're going to treat the Jewish people, right? Why is all this happening in the first place is just as important as some of these, individual instances, or just as important as how one side of the war is being affected, right?
Israeli dual
all of it's
citizen.
important.
My wife is Israeli, my kids are half Israeli, and my entire in-law is Israeli. I lived there for 5 years, and I grew a closeness with the country and its people. One of the biggest issues between me, Hasan, and his community was that I'm in favor of a two-state solution, while they are in favor of a one-state solution. Their theory is that after the October 7th attack, Israel should just dissolve its borders and let Hamas enter Israel unrestrained.
What do you think Israel should have done?
Which is, of course, crazy.
Instead of indiscriminately bombing Gaza, I think the first thing to do in that situation would be to dismantle the government in the way that it existed, like get Netanyahu out of power.
Okay. So you're saying Israel, in response, hold on, dude. You're saying in response to this terrorist attack, Israel should have dismantled their own government.
The first set of actions would be to democratically take Netanyahu out of power. Yes.
The problem is that Israel.
Think about that. Imagine if George W. Bush decided to dissolve the United States of America after 9/11 and give it up to Osama bin Laden. Imagine that. He does not give a fuck about what happens after, right? It's like he hasn't even thought about it. And I get really frustrated because I talk to a lot of people online, a lot of other, like, further left people than I am, I guess, on this issue. It gets so frustrating that they haven't mentioned at all the hypothetical of what would happen if they get the situation that they're advocating for, right? They just haven't at all. It's like the plan ends there. And, that's obviously the issue and the pitfall that leads the same problem to happen again. It's going to repeat the cycle, right? The last time Palestine had the opportunity to establish itself as a true second state, as another state that exists in the region, right? They were left to their own devices to deal with a power vacuum. They had the remnants of what was essentially the rebellion group, the militia, the rebellion terrorist group or whatever that they had that was fighting for them, right? They had the remnants of that along with other incredibly corrupt people that were trying to vie for power. And the international communities did do enough to facilitate this whole transition and make sure that it wasn't going to be completely overtaken. And this is actually where Hamas forms. This is how Hamas became a thing, because they became a political party from the remnants of what was left, and they ended up taking control, winning the election. And this is like the beginning of the situation that we end up seeing now. And, we don't want to make these same fucking mistakes. We don't want to make the same mistake. And we need to make sure that we fully comprehend the issues of both sides and every other important detail in between. It can't just be so blatantly one-sided, because we're going to end up with the same fucking problem in the future.
Plus years, and it makes a lot of sense that there'd be some distrust there. Is it really insane to think that Jews, as an ethnic minority in Israel, would not be safe? After all, Israel is a country of refugees. If the Jews didn't come from Europe after the Holocaust, they came from the surrounding Arab countries that expelled them in massive amounts following the 1948 war. In fact, there was more Jews displaced than Palestinians during the Nakba. 1 million Jews. All of these surrounding Arab countries had vibrant Jewish communities in huge number, hundreds of thousands. Now, if you look at them, you're looking at close to, if not literally, 0 Jews left in these countries.
Just to give you an idea, here's a visual
So
representation
now,
of the Jewish refugees.
you'll hear people
after
too talk about how they've looked at both sides and the whole issue or whatever, but they'll never actually like question whether or not the sources that they get their information from may be like completely biased. Like, for example, the most popular Palestinian, quote unquote Palestinian, like source for history and information, all that kind of stuff, is the same guy that what's his name? That Destiny debated. I forgot his name. He's been going around. No, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Oh wait, I got it. I think he calls himself a doctor or whatever. Oh, Finkelstein. Yeah, that's him. Dr. Finkelstein. Right. This guy has been like on so many like, shows and podcasts, and he's been interviewed hundreds of fucking times, right? This dude can't even speak the language. Can't even speak the Palestinian language. Can't even speak the language of the region. This guy apparently has read so many books that have been written in history in regards to like what was going on there by people who lived there and who've written it in their own language and shit like that. He can't even read that fucking language. So it's like, how the fuck were you able to, really understand all the stuff that you claim you're a professional on, but then also be so fucking wrong about like half the points you make? And on top of that, you can't even speak the language of these
Jews.
people.
Now it
That's
has 2,000.
craziness.
Algeria had 140,000. Now it has about 50. Iraq had 150,000 Jews. Now 10. And I want to give a special shout out to my boy over in Afghanistan, one known Jew. We know him. We love him.
He actually doesn't live there anymore. This is like no joke. He actually isn't there anymore.
He's the one Afghan Jew.
I'm pretty sure they
were
had to kick him
forced to
out.
leave their homes, their lives, their property, and migrate to the only place in the world that would accept them, which was Israel. The irony of this whole situation is that after the 1948 war, when Israel won the war to declare its independence, the Arab countries got super anti-Semitic against their own Jewish citizenry that had nothing to do with Israel. And as a result, they kicked them all out, 1 million plus of them, and forced them to go the one place they hated the most, Israel. And now
They did the same thing that America did when Pearl Harbor happened, right? They just pointed the finger at all the Japanese that had lived in the United States, and they did some pretty fucked up shit to them.
those same people that forced them out of their homes are telling them they don't belong there. So if the Jews of Israel are surrounded by Islamic militant terrorist groups that have stated their goal is to annihilate Israel as a Jewish state, and considering the historical context of Jews being pogromed from Arab countries.
And if you don't know what a pogrom is, it's just an ethnic cleansing. It's like a mini genocide, I guess. It's an event where they take a bunch of people and they just fucking execute them, all belonging to the same ethnic background. In this case, it was Jewish people.
Is it really that crazy for them to not feel safe as an ethnic minority, even a little bit?
And that's pretty much the entirety of our disagreement. Despite what you've read on TikTok and Twitter, I've donated $6,500 to a Palestinian charity after the war started.
Hey, Ethan Kline, thank you for the dono. Ethan Kline gave $6,500.
He's painting the picture that he's like,
Thank you, Ethan.
Condemned Netanyahu as a war criminal.
They're led by Netanyahu, who should resign in disgrace and go to prison for being a war criminal.
Called the West Bank settlements an abomination.
Settlers in the West Bank
I'm gonna
are
grab some more
religious
water.
zealots, they're monsters, they're genocidal.
I've even said the West Bank settlers are valid military targets.
When you talk about like colonial settlers and stuff, like that's what's actually happening in the West Bank right now. And these people are more or less valid military targets, in my opinion.
My only crime is wanting a two-state solution instead of one, and thinking it's not okay to kill Israeli civilians. That's it. That's why they're calling me a Nazi Zionist. And because of Hasan and others spreading this malicious lie about my beliefs, I'm even getting harassed on the street.
So how come you don't like Palestine?
I like Palestine.
No, you don't.
Why do you say that?
Because, bro, you're... wasn't she in the IDF?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
Mandatory service.
That's sad. That's terrorism, bro.
She was born there.
That's sad. Feel bad for you guys.
I think I know why
Ethan, bro, you're ugly as fuck, bro. You're ugly as shit. You look like a rapist.
Beard oil I have.
You look like a fucking rapist, Ethan.
Got it on my nose.
Feel bad for you guys.
Oh, I'll go back. I want to go back because this shit's kind of fun. So this is what I was talking about. They have been gathering together in mass and attacking him and his fucking friends and people that, his girlfriend, all that kind of stuff on the street.
Was she in the IDF?
This is how far they're going with this.
Mandatory service.
That's sad. That's terrorism, bro.
She was born there.
That's sad. Feel bad for you guys. Ethan Kline, bro, you're ugly as fuck, bro. You're ugly as shit. You look like a rapist, bro. You look like a fucking rapist, Ethan.
that guy. This is the guy who's saying that. Like, it's too easy to make fun of him. It's not even worth the effort.
In the South, trying to act like they're so tough. Oh, I'm American. Oh, you don't even run your own country. You don't run your own country, bro. You don't run your own country. A foreign country named Israel runs your country. Oh my God, bro! I love you, Hasan. Can I give you a hug, bro?
I'm so sweaty, bro.
I love you, bro.
I'm so sorry.
I love you, bro. I have to interview you. You're my
Look
hero,
at
bro.
that.
I love you, bro. You're
Look at this. You see this? How is this not the gawk? This guy is slurping up Hasan right now. He's like, please, Hasan, notice me. Please, Hasan. Please, Hasan. Please, I beg you. I'm here. I'm a good little tanky, right? Yeah. I attacked us, Ethan Kline on the street. Please.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. The funny thing about me, I don't like terrorism, and I don't like terrorists. If they're
That's
Jews,
crazy, right?
Christians,
Yeah, hard to
Muslims,
believe.
they're all bad. What is terrorism? It's intentionally targeting civilian population for political goals. I don't like it, none of it. And over time, I started to learn that my co-host, he really likes terrorists.
Now, this is nuts.
They're very musical people. Are you being serious? Dog, what do you look?
I remember trying to explain this to my cousins when this had happened and the stream happened, and I was like, dude, no one. I can't believe that Twitch didn't ban this guy for this, because I know if I did this, I would definitely be banned, like permanently, probably. This is.
You think
I feel so bad for this guy too, because he didn't ask for any of this.
Taking over these ships, they started targeting the ships.
People on this helicopter right now?
Yes, they're streaming this. Yeah.
This is a real hijacking. This is a real hijacking that had actually happened, and they recorded it, that the Houthi terrorists did. They stole this Galaxy, the name of the ship is called the Galaxy Leader, right? And you see them, they got guns in the video, they're pointing at the crew, they're telling them to get the fuck, to get the fucking whatever, or follow us and do the thing that we want you to do and shit. Crazy stuff. They completely take over. And for, I want to say, I forget how long, it was like maybe a couple years or some shit, there was no notification of what had happened to these people on the crew until literally 2 days after this video was posted. Because apparently they actually were released recently. The whole crew was released, and it took a lot of like politicking and stuff.
They're flexing. What? And they're coming out with guns. Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrence. We think the Houthis, Ansarullah, is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell them that.
Hezbollah is
They're doing what Luffy would do.
Do you like them or no? I don't have an issue with them, let's just say. But they are a terrorist organization. Like they're designated. They are designated by the American state as a terrorist organization.
I do not like them then.
Well,
he is regarded as a pretty brilliant person.
Like, look at him trying so hard to convince his
everything that he's done.
friends
Then I
and
saw clips
all
like
this
this
shit.
where Hasan is explaining how he's hiding his power level to funnel in normies into radicalization.
I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. You want America, in the way that I feel about it, if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form, while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond,
Right.
social
Yeah.
democratic
Oh
ideas.
my god, it's
Put
disgusting.
emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel, where, for example, Hasan and JT catch them while they're young, as they say, and then they start looking into this new idea, etc., and then move forwards through the funnel, get more and more informed, get more and more radicalized. You do your part in the funnel for the cause, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You're doing, in my modest opinion, a great thing for the cause.
This guy
Now,
is
listen to
like
Hasan
trying
during-
so hard to be like the embodiment of Marxist communism ideology. Meanwhile, these guys fucking take part in capitalism more lavishly than any other American.
In our very first conversation, lied to me about how he's a social democrat to hide his power level.
We should move towards a Sweden-style economy or a Norway-style economy.
And I
which would be
think
social
that's
democracy.
this what he just said, hiding his power level. I'm pretty sure this is how he got a conversation with Bernie Sanders in the first place, by self-labeling himself as a democratic socialist or whatever. And oh my god, I just remembered what was it, earlier this year, when Hasan was doing his, like on, was it on Thanksgiving, he had a conversation with, what was it, Chank? Was it Thanksgiving? Let me see if I can find the video. No, I'm not going to look for it. I'm not going to be able to find it. It's going to take too long. But he basically had a debate with his uncle who it made him famous, I want to say. I want to say his uncle made him famous because they did the Young Turks shit together or whatever. But they had a little argument about like where Hasan falls on the political spectrum, right? And like Hasan's desperately trying to paint himself as like a leftist, like a far, like kind of far leftist, but not too far, like a Democratic socialist. That's what he's trying to make himself seem like. He's trying to make himself seem like he's in the same boat as Bernie Sanders or some shit. And Chank's just kind of like calling him out for it. He's like, dude, you're definitely not even close. Like, you're so fucking far left. Like that. But then also Chank at the same time, he's also like labeling himself as centrist or some dumb shit. And like, you know, then we see him supporting Trump and doing all that. Well, I guess not supporting Trump, but like giving a lot of like leeway to the right for dumb shit. And it's just crazy. Like, he's doing this so he could get into platforms and be on the same stage as some of these famous people, some of these, like, I guess the closest types of politicians or people that represent his ideology or whatever. And, you know, meanwhile, he's actually like super extremist. He's insanely extremist. He advocates for violence on a way that's like ridiculous and fucking, like, I don't understand how these politicians, how Bernie Sanders can miss this. How did he miss that? Like, how do these people just listen to him saying, oh, I'm a Democratic socialist once, and they just believe it? What's going on, Atari? How's everything? How I be? It is how I be. Or I guess how I be. Are you asking me how I be? I'm good. I be good. I be is good. Oh my god, I sound like a fucking caveman right now. I didn't have a lot of other content to cover because not much happened since yesterday, so I'm just covering this nuke, the Hasan Piker content nuke that Ethan Kline has so
you have
nicely
advocate for a
blessed us
much
with.
lighter form of propaganda with robust social safety net.
Oh shit! Congratulations to Atari. Shout out to you. Yeah, someone do a shot. Can I do that? How do I do that? Does it work? Actually, it's gonna be the first time I'm gonna fucking try this. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, it's alright. Congratulations! I'm gonna take a dab for you. Unrecognized command. Okay, I did something wrong. I'll figure that out later. But seriously, congratulations. I'm very happy to hear that. I would be super fucking excited and stoked. Definitely. And when it gets published or whatever, send it to me so I could see. Or you can send it to me whenever you feel like. I'll take a look or read it when I got some time. But fuck yeah. Again, poetry could move mountains. You get the right words, you could make shit happen.
That's
cold radicalization funnel.
The right people.
Young, as they say.
And protections for workers like higher unionization rates.
A lighter form, while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond democratic ideas.
Hell, he's proclaimed it loudly that he is a self-described propagandist.
I'm a propagandist. But no, the record. No, I'm not calling you propagandist. No, I'm just saying.
He owns that. He owns it as if that's like a mic drop. Like he's just fucking slam dunked something.
I'm saying I am.
He's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm a propagandist, bro. I'm a badass. I know I'm a fucking badass. I am the communist dream. That's what he thinks.
No, what I'm saying I am. I just want to put it in
That's what he thinks.
Propagandist is much more than someone with a bias. It's someone who knowingly lies to further their political agenda.
And then I had a terrifying vision. Had I been duped? Was Hasan presenting a Trojan horse to my community where he was just a left-leaning Democrat like myself? And as he said in the previous video, was funneling them into radicalization and turning them against me.
Liberals are some of the easiest to manipulate people on the fucking planet, dude.
I learned how much he hates liberals.
Dude, I hate liberals, dude. I hate them.
This is what I mean.
I hate them so viciously.
This is what I mean. Their real enemy are the liberals. The Democrats. That's the real enemy there. That's why, that's what's so frustrating, that I feel like the left is, the reason why they're divided is because of this. Is because they don't like anyone in politics at all. They don't want anything. They don't want anything. They want anarchy. They want the destruction of the United States. They don't care about that kind of stuff, right? They just want to see the Dems and the leftists and liberals burn. That's all they want to burn. That's all they give a fuck about. Yeah, that's
Did
cool.
he secretly
You definitely
despise
send it
me
on
this
there.
whole time?
I'm sorry, dude. I hate liberals so much.
Did this man
Feel
sit
free to
next to
send
me
it to
for
me.
2 years and pretend to be my friend?
Dude, liberals are a burden on this planet, dude. Liberals are the most, like, scummy, vile, fucking idiots. Liberals are incredibly stupid and hate
And you know
these-
who else sounds like this? Who else sounds like that? Who else says that shit? I'll give you a hint. They wear red hats. Some of them pointy white hoods. MAGA. They go full circle. Thank you, Batari. Hell yeah. Correct answer right there. MAGA. He sounds like MAGA. They've gone full circle. You go extreme enough, you end up meeting the other ends.
Petulant liberals, dumb fucking liberals.
What else is someone this sociopathic capable of?
Liberals are some of the easiest to manipulate people on the fucking planet, dude.
Was I being manipulated this whole time?
It's crazy he says shit
That
like
was
that
my
too.
fear anyway. Regardless of his true beliefs, that broke my trust in him, and I pretty much ended the show immediately. And I felt guilty for my participation in mainstreaming Hasan. And for that, I apologize. I should have done more research, and I should have looked more deeply into who I was getting in bed with before they gave me chlamydia.
And you know who's also gonna be saying that shit soon? Is fucking Bernie and you know, these dumb fucking politicians that keep just hosting people that are never going to vote for them. It's the same mistake. We're seeing the same exact mistake that led us to losing the fucking election in the first place. They are constantly platforming and talking to people who have audiences who fucking hate them. Like, why? Why? Because they didn't even bother to look into it. Meanwhile, you have people who have audiences who love them, who want to at least hear them. At least hear them, and they're interested in it. And they're not even bothering to go on their platform. They're not even bothering to check them out or go on their shit. It's so fucking frustrating.
Sorry, Hila.
They're trying to, you know what I think it is? I think they think that they gotta go to the person who has the highest fucking numbers, right? So Hasan being the biggest streamer, highest numbers, biggest audience, let's start from there. Meanwhile, their first step is the wrong step and they end up falling into a fucking trap.
The show ended, I continue to watch Hasan platform, promote, and propagandize terrorist organizations. And every time it happened on Twitch, I would say, man, this time surely he went too far and someone's got to do something. But as the time went on, nothing happened, and his views got more and more radical and more disturbing. I feel it's my obligation, after mainstreaming someone like Hasan, to take this on.
That sounds so scary.
It was war. Nuclear war.
I stand before you
Like,
following
it sounds
the
so
footsteps
scary. Like the
of-
idea that you might be friends with someone who's actively like manipulating you on that level to get to your audience and like hijack it.
intellectual
Fucked.
giants.
One thing
that
we've
is
been hearing for
nothing
weeks.
but a simple man.
Now,
A simple man who understands right from wrong.
Yeah.
I
think that influential voice for lots of people.
Party an idiot, dumb Jimbo. I don't know what I'm talking about.
And there are some things
I've got to disagree with
And look at that. He also does that thing. I think it's just so annoying. He says that he's a himbo, that he's dumb, he doesn't know better, blah, 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 bro. Come on. How are you so stupid and yet know all this shit about the region? It's the heart of the matter.
Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. ExpressVPN is an app that lets you change your location. Let's see what you can do with this power.
A
You can set up for
VPN
Netflix from a different country. But why
advertisement
would you want to
in
do
the
that?
middle
It
of
was
this?
$14. It's now $3.66.
That is-
Okay, but it even gets better than that. Netflix and
That
all the
is
streaming apps
cold.
have different catalogs for each region. So let's say, for example, I want to watch some Dragon Ball Z, bro,
Wow.
but it's not available in the USA. Psych! All you
Well,
need to do
I'll
is switch
take this
locations to
opportunity to grab
Canada,
a snack.
refresh, and boom, that easy and fast. Dragon Ball Z time. I use these websites to help find whatever shows I'm looking for, you can type in the show you want and it will show you which region to connect to. The amount of content I have access to is insane. It's super easy to use. It's an app you connect to, and then you pick which country you want to connect to. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Go to expressvpn.com/H3HC for 4 free months, or scan the QR code, or go to link in the description. Thank you so much to ExpressVPN. And now, back to our program. Meanwhile, at Twitch HQ, the marketing team is strategizing on a new advertising vertical. My friends at Twitch headquarters, the executives,
see what's going on.
the influencers, Hasan, nice to see you, Frogan, front row. I am here to present to you an extraordinarily exciting opportunity. We have not tapped this market yet. Now, don't panic, okay? Because you're going to want to panic when I tell you, but listen and learn. Who's billions of dollars, eager to spend it? And what, people are too cowardly to reach out and take the money? Not us. Terrorism. Terrorism. Twitch is perfect. You could broadcast it straight into the veins of 18 to 35-year-old men. So here's what I'm suggesting. Hasan Piker.
He's selling me.
Yeah, we'll get drinks after the show. No,
like
you.
this.
He's such a great guy. No, you. Give it up for Hasan Piker, everybody. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday.
This dude can package anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism like nobody else. In fact, you guys got him on the front page. And he's doing terrorism for free. So basically, gentlemen and gentle ladies, Frogan, you look good today, girl.
Oh my
Girl,
god, I hate Frogan so
Great
much.
job on that Arab tier.
Frogan gets me so angry. She's like, she's literally a nobody, and that makes me so angry that she states such the stupidest, most fucking violent, provoking statements, and somehow, was it Twitch feels the need to promote her despite her like barely getting any fucking views.
Tier list. That was good. How much we get for that? Yo, you got 10 million from Qatar for that? That's what I'm talking about.
Damn.
We're talking about Twitch. Here's the thing, with help from people like Hasan, terrorism is like in the eyes of the beholder, right? They're not terrorists, they're, go ahead, he knows. Freedom fighters, guys. We are fighting
the freedom fighters.
for
Got
freedom.
it.
What about the rapes and the murders? Don't mention that. And another one. The resistance isn't
not perfect.
Right? You gotta crack some eggs, man. Hasan, you know Socialism didn't buy you that car.
So, how does his audience see this and then not question for a second if Hasan actually does believe his whole communist shtick? Like,
if I knew that this is what communism would be in 2024, I wouldn't have bothered with this shit. Really. Of course, is he symbol of the capitalist excess? What the fuck is he thinking? You guys actually believe this idiot is a socialist?
Seriously.
Forget your religion. Hasan is the opiate of the masses. Straight to the
Wow.
for anyone swapped to this idiot.
the opiate of the masses, like that.
Or that designer
Hasan
dog.
is that.
This breed's stunning fluffy coat comes with a price. Chow Chows shed all the
Very cute, by the way, but those are expensive. The point is, we have the biggest political streamer on our platform that is influencing media and influencing young kids everywhere. If we can normalize terrorism, if we could rebrand it, then fuck the U.S. Navy. You know how much those guys don't pay shit.
Yeah.
You see the Army ads on Twitch? The Army is fucking broke, dude. I'll tell you who loves America more than the Army. Qatar. Well, I don't know if love's the right word, but they're paying more. Good CPMs coming out of Qatar. But you kids love anime, right? Yeah, can't get enough of it. Yeah, look at what we've already done with Hasan. You're the fucking man, dude. Happy birthday again, man. No, we got a big party for you after. No, don't do it. Let's wait, because we got a big party and a cake and everything for you after in the back. The prostitutes, too. Don't tell anyone. That's a part of the past. Look what we've done
Damn
already.
crazy.
This Houthi
The communist fucking pig.
Who are you kidding? This guy's a fucking terrorist. He literally
Tim
tweeted out
Houthi,
he wants to kill
Chalamet.
Jews and put their heads on pikes. And somehow, not somehow, because of his genius, we have rebranded the Houthi fucking pirates, the Houthi terrorist organization. Yeah, the Islamic fundamentalists. Death to America, curse upon the Jews. That's right. That's the Jolly Roger of this. Death to America.
They wear this on their. This is like a badge that they wear. They wear this on their like sleeve, right? How do they reason with thinking that if this movement succeeds and wins, that they're not going to witness another genocide? That there's not going to be more death occurring.
America, curse upon the Jews. That's right.
How
That's the
blind do you
Jolly
have to be
Roger
to
of
ignore
this
this?
man here? None other than Monkey D. Luffy. So let's get out there, guys, and let's make 2025 our biggest year, guys. Come on, guys. The resistance isn't perfect. The resistance isn't perfect. Yeah, let's get them.
If you want to know where on the political spectrum Hasan sits, take a look at a recent media analysis by Ad Fonte, which
don't
rated
know how I
Hasan
feel
as the
about
most
this chart.
extreme left-wing, untrustworthy media source on the internet.
I don't know how I feel about this chart because, like, there's a lot of shit that seems to be at the top. I feel like people use this chart and then they make it seem like the people that are like in the direct center all the way at the top are like the most trustworthy sources of all time. But like, you see like, what is it? Fox Business right over here. It's pretty high up. You got like, what is it? Vox. I wouldn't really trust some of these things that much, to be honest with you. In what way? I would like to know. Because I hear a lot of that, but I don't see a lot of it. I'm gonna have to hard disagree with that. I definitely don't think, because Ethan, I could definitely tell you this, Ethan has not hosted an actual terrorist on his platform. He has not supported his ideology and all the actions that he admitted to doing live on stream, right? He doesn't openly show terrorist propaganda as on stream and make it seem like it's all good in the neighborhood and it's actually like pretty cool and base, right? It's actually just pretty fucking normal. And then I witnessed him patronizing these nations because they might have like a KFC in their location and making it seem like, oh, he's just like us, guys. He's just like us. That is, no, personality wise, they are definitely different, my guy. I have to hard disagree with you. Even if we have to what was it? Examine both of them as who they are as a person, we have to come to the conclusion Hasan's way worse. Hasan has way more influence. He is pushing way more dangerous ideology. He is getting in a way of actual like politics in terms of like voting wise, because a lot of people that he influenced that either didn't vote or voted third party, and we couldn't get nowhere in this election, right? As well as getting people to feel like America needs to fall, right? That's the worst thing I feel like I hate about Hasan the most, is Hasan is actively campaigning for the destruction of this country, as well as getting in the way of relief and peace happening in other regions around the world, because he's spinning this ideology that is so fucking far-fetched and wrong and completely ignoring like a whole portion of people and not caring what happens to them. It's horrible. Bro, how? Please tell me how. How could you, like, this is both sidesism. You know that, right? Soviet, like, you this is both sidesism. This is the same shit that, like, you know, I would criticize the Democrats and people who are left-leaning would do when they try to treat, like, MAGA as the same as, what is it, the Democrats. Like, when I hear people comparing Trump to, what is it, Harris as being the exact same thing, that's the same type of, like, approach, when one is clearly way worse than the other. America needs to fall. Well, if it's your opinion, that's fine, you know, but this guy, Hasan, I definitely disagree with him, and he's definitely doing way more damage as a person, as a content creator, as an influencer, than Ethan has ever done. And I also don't think that Ethan is even that fucking bad. I just haven't seen much that is, like, even close to resembling what Hasan is. I mean, he might say things that are, like, a little bit unhinged, maybe, I guess, every once in a while, but his behavior hasn't been very toxic. He's always been on the defense. I always see, like, him getting attacked. I always see, like, Hasan's audience, like, hammering down on him, doing shit like following him in person, like we saw before, or he walked up to, some random guy walked up to Ethan's car while he was with his girlfriend to harass him on the street. Like, that's what I keep fucking seeing. I don't see Ethan doing any of that. You know, was mocking him. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Oh, you think I'm talking about them politically? I'm talking about their content. Even if yeah, but dude, even if you look at their content, it's not even close. Like, even if you look at their content, it's not even close. Like, Ethan's not doing anything near on the level of what Hasan does outside of politics, right? His harassment of people that don't agree with him or don't, like, talk bad about Hasan, right? his usage of his audience to target and attack them, like that is disgusting. Like I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You're comparing apples to oranges, my guy. I have to hard disagree with you. It's the same logic that the people had when they looked at Harris and Trump and said that they're the exact same shit because they found like a couple things that they both were similar on, while ignoring this like whole host of like in your face issues and red flags that you should definitely be considering over like the other, right? Ethan did a smear campaign on Vosh. Vosh smear campaign himself. Like, what do you mean? Like, it doesn't take much to have a to go against Vosh. Vosh is a piece of shit. Like, Vosh like collapsed his own career. Why would I care if he did? That's like saying that Ethan did a fucking smear campaign against Hitler or some dumb shit or some like other piece of shit. Like, why would I care about that? Hasan, I mean, Vosh is arguably even worse in his logic.
Fonte, which rated Hasan as the most extreme left-wing, untrustworthy media source on the internet. And to give you an idea, he is opposite of InfoWars. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Hasan loves all terrorists, but what I will say is that there's many he don't like. Let's start with our good friend Luffy here and his organization, the Houthis.
And yes, this is what it looks like. They are hiling Hitler.
The Houthis are an Islamic military group. They're known for their cruel measures, forcibly recruiting child soldiers, shelling civilian areas, and blocking food from entering already famine-ruined parts of Yemen. They've also set up landmines in agriculture.
Hold on, Soviet man. Think about what you're saying right now. You're telling me that Ethan is just as much as a piece of shit as Hasan because he did a smear campaign against another piece of shit, while I'm telling you that Hasan is platforming actual terrorists who have been involved in hostage crisis situations and have probably, most likely, committed war crimes and have devastated people, and he's pushing that same propaganda that those people create into the United States and convincing young minds to follow that. And you're telling me that somehow they're both like very similar and that we have to always mention and talk shit about Ethan more, despite the fact that Hasan clearly is way worse of a person. Like it's not even close. Ethan crying about people promoting gambling, like that doesn't like I don't understand how you don't see the difference in magnitude between two of these things, right? If Ethan talks shit about gambling, right, and does gambling later, who gives a fuck in the wide spread of things? Who gives a shit about that? Like, it's like his own life that he ends up doing anyway. Like, he gambles, he gets to get rid of his money. Who gives a fuck? Like, meanwhile, I'm telling you, Assad is platforming terrorism. Like, he's advocating for terrorism and the destruction of this country. And you're telling me that Ethan promotes gambling or some shit and made a spear campaign against another asshole fucking YouTuber? Like, you're not going to convince me. If that's all you got, you're not gonna convince me. Unless you can like pull out something like Ethan like fucking was doing pedophilia or some shit or sold like child sex trafficking people or whatever the fuck, then maybe I'll consider what you're saying. But it's pointless to even mention that Ethan is toxic sometimes when we're looking at Hasan Piker and all of the horrific fucking terrible shit he's been doing with his platform and his career. Meanwhile, Ethan hasn't even been scratching the surface of any of that, right? There's like, in my mind, I see it as Hasan is 100% fucking bad, and Ethan is probably like 5% bad. He's probably like a normal person at this point, because you're telling me that he has like vices sometimes, or he does some things that may be, you know, not the best decision possible, but it's not like fucking bankrupt immoral, right? Or advocating of violence and shit. It's so bad. But there's no point. Like, there's no point at all in having this discussion and bringing it up like that, because you're both siding the thing. If you're gonna say that Hasan and Ethan is just as bad as Hasan, but then have like zero evidence or whatever to equate the two, like you're comparing apples and oranges, it's insane. I just don't understand how you could come to that conclusion. It doesn't make any sense. There's no point in even bringing it up. Also, Ethan's store has been accused of using child labor too. Has it? Like, I feel like you're really struggling to fucking get shit to talk shit about Ethan. Like, why do you even feel the need to do that? Let's look this up. Hasan supports organizations that salute Hitler. Yeah, it's like he doesn't even matter. It's like it doesn't even matter. It's like it doesn't even matter because Ethan does bad things sometimes, right? None of the horrible shit that Hasan does, like we can't talk about it without bringing up the fact that Ethan Kline can make mistakes sometimes, right? That's crazy. I can't even find what you're talking about. I don't think he's been using... Yep, I don't see anything about child labor. All I see here about child labor with Ethan Kline is a Twitter post where apparently he accidentally argued for it. This is what I'm saying, dude. This is what I'm saying. Like, why? I just need to know why is it that your mind goes to trying to attack Ethan? When you hear about someone criticizing Hasan and everything he's doing, and we're watching Ethan presenting really good evidence against Hasan and criticizing some really important shit and stuff like that he's been doing, why is it that your mind automatically goes to trying to dig up all the worst shit you could find about Ethan, right? And here again, you use something that was just hearsay. You're like he didn't use child labor. I couldn't find it. I saw a Twitter post apparently talking about a conversation he may have had surrounding child labor, but it's nuts that you were trying to draw that like distinction without even knowing if that's actually the case. And like again, there's no point. There's no point of even mentioning this. It's like saying, it's like if I made a 30-minute video or about an investigation I did into somebody, where I went out of the way, I had all like the evidence I could, the proof, talking shit about this person in the right way or whatever, just bringing attention to all the really bad things that this person fucking did, right? It's like if I did that, but then in response to that, you're like, well, you know, I stole a candy bar once at a CVS, and one time I made a bad argument while I was talking to somebody online. And apparently, somehow, that is more important and must be discussed immediately first before any of the stuff that was in the video or what I've been covering or any of that stuff. That's why I feel so frustrated right now. Hasan supports the, why do I have to like, why do I have to like Ethan? It's not about liking Ethan. That's the problem here. That's what I don't understand. This is not about liking anybody, right? This is about bringing attention to something bad that somebody's doing and making sure that they get held accountable for their actions, right? It doesn't matter if fucking Ronald McDonald made this video. It doesn't matter if fucking, what is it? The Hamburglar made this video. It doesn't matter who fucking made this video, as long as it's not somebody who's an absolute criminal, right? And a fucking crime lord or whatever the fuck. Like, this is just another YouTuber or streamer. Like, why is it that you think that this video is about liking Ethan rather than bringing attention to all the stuff that Hasan has been doing and dismantling this illusion that Hasan has built for his audience to believe that not just Ethan Kline is a bad person, but anybody who talks shit about Hasan is a bad person? That's what I'm seeing from it. It's like the knee-jerk reaction is like, you know, I gotta like attack the guy who's making criticisms about the guy who's making criticism. I just don't understand this. I just don't get it. It really isn't about liking Ethan Kline. This video is not supposed to convince you to like Ethan Kline.
Cultural spots, making the fields virtually worthless. Women have virtually no rights, and homosexuality, of course, is punishable by death. That lines up with leftist values. Now, just how little rights do women in the
I feel like you're missing the point, right? I think you're getting hung up on, like, this is a discussion of whether or not we should like somebody or not, rather or not this is a discussion on how is someone negatively impacting the lives of other people and spreading information or literal propaganda, according to his own words, that muddies the water when it comes to very important issues in society and globally. Like you're not seeing what the important thing is here, right? The actual crux of this. So in my argument, Hasan has done a lot of damage, even though he's very far removed from the Israeli Palestine situation, I feel like he's done a lot of damage in the United States, in society, on how we view and how leftists view the whole situation that's going on there. He's spread a lot of misinformation, and in his acts, he's probably contributed to the worsening of the situation, right? Because now we have someone who's in office who's definitely not going to help, and a lot of people who could have made a difference in voting didn't show up to vote because they thought in their mind that they couldn't like both of the politicians, right? They couldn't pick between either because in their mind somehow they equated immediately that they're both the same, right? Like you said at the beginning, I know you're changing your stance and you're saying now that Hasan is worse, but the first thing you did say immediately in your knee-jerk reaction was to say that they're both as bad as each other, right? That's what's fucking us up because now we're more worried about whose jersey we're going to wear rather than why we're fighting for these issues in the first place, right?
Well, according to this, there's been 1,181 violations committed by Houthi rebels against women, including torture, rape, and murder. So, not great. The Houthis have a very wholesome flag, as you can see here. It says, translated, Allah Akbar, death to America, death to Israel, and a curse upon the Jews. And that's all of them, not just the ones in Israel. And of course, victory to Islam. I get amused when these terrorists are like, we hate Jews. We want to kill Jews. And then people like Hasan are like, you're fucking racist for saying that they just want to kill Jews and that they're terrorists, man.
What you meant to say is Hezbollah is Muslim.
You're not thinking deep enough about this topic.
My criticism of the Houthis' slogan do not factor into what they are doing. Of course, it's anti-Semitic, but contextualizing matters. Yeah, it's really interesting because, like, that is such Western-focused propaganda. Like, for a Palestinian to arrive at anti-Semitic opinions, okay, they don't need to read Mein Kampf.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
oh, I almost
this gets worse too.
They brought back
it gets so much worse. It's so much worse. This guy's responsible for a lot of things.
All right, so these guys are clearly
overall, he's definitely way worse of a person. It's like it's not even important to bring this up. Also, I wasn't talking about their political stances. I was talking about their personalities, which are like they're not. They're so not though. They only got along. He even said at the beginning of this video, they only got along because Hasan was lying to him about his stances at first. Hasan was telling him that he's a democratic socialist, when it's clear that he's not. Hasan's not. He was manipulating Ethan to use his audience to spread more of his ideology. That's what I'm trying to get at. He even apologized to his own audience for not doing enough research on Hasan. He literally said that before. Like, this is what I'm saying. The personalities are way different because at least Ethan is willing to engage with the criticisms that are launched at him. At least he's willing to show the videos of what Hasan is saying and directly respond to it, right? While Hasan, otherwise, he's lying about situations, he's not engaging in those videos, and he's painting different pictures. That's what the problem is. And again, you're getting hung up on who we should like more. This is not about that. It's about what they're doing with the platform that they have and the audience that they have, and which you could sum up to being the power that they have, right? It's what they're doing with that. Ethan is willing to acknowledge his mistakes and apologize to them, right? He's willing to acknowledge when he gets some facts wrong and apologizes to them. Hasan doubles down on them every single time. He doubles down on them until it's so embarrassing that he has nothing else to say. Like, for example, when Hasan mistook that Arma 3 video game footage as being an actual military footage. That's disgusting. He didn't even bother to look in to see if it's actually like credible resources. Like, he just pulled it up on stream and made it seem like this is actual footage. And he had to get called out for it. And he made it seem like it's not that big of an issue. When it's what it is. It's a big fucking issue. These people are not the same. They're not the same at all. And it's been Hasan's form of attack to convince everybody that that is the case, right? If you believe Hasan and Ethan are very much alike and that they have the same mentalities and that Ethan is somehow just as toxic or somewhat toxic, close to Hasan, you're falling for Hasan's propaganda. Because that's literally what they've been pushing all over the internet. And it's so frustrating to see. Because like when you put this in the full scope and actually hear what Ethan has to say and acknowledge that and take away from your mind being hung up on who to like because it's irrelevant, right, you'll see what the point is. You'll start to
Violent,
see what the main
misogynistic,
issue is.
homophobic, terroristic organization.
Oh, you want to see a Houthi musical? Sure. These were the people that the Saudis were killing, by the way, just so you know. These
This is how he treats his friends. Look how he treats his friends, right? Hassan, apparently this is his friend. His friend has no idea this is about to happen. Has no idea this is about to happen.
Okay, I'm sorry, I need the money. I'm gonna grab my food.
When Hassan leaves, he placed this on his stream. This is a video. Propaganda, again, from the Houthi terrorists. It's a music video that they made. A music video, right? And he's just playing it. He's just fucking playing it on stream. And he left this boy there to just watch that shit. And he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Hey, watch. When he comes back, listen to... Sophie, you're going to be mind blown. Listen to how he rephrases... how he pictures and portrays the situation. It's fucking crazy.
That's right, my friend. Hasan just played straight up terrorist propaganda without even being there to analyze it. Surely this must be against terms of service. Twitch does not allow content that depicts, glorifies, encourages, or supports terrorism or violent extremist actors. For example, displaying or linking terrorist or extremist propaganda either for the purpose of denouncing such content. Denouncing? Okay, but what's the rule for endorsing it? Is that okay? The answer is yes, as Hasan was never punished for this blatant violation of Twitch community guidelines. Got it. So denouncing terrorism is bad. Don't do that. Endorsing terrorism is good. Okay, got it, Twitch.
So maybe I won't get in trouble if I say this is good.
This is a 3-minute video of... What do you mean a music video? When you said music video, I'm expecting like bad example, Chris Brown dancing, you know.
Listen.
No. They do like they do musicals. They're very musical people.
They're musical people.
Are you being serious?
Dog, what do you look? You think I made this?
Isn't I know they're singing, but I'm seeing just guns and shit. This isn't a music video, Hasan.
No, it is. They do musicals about like their fucking like their actions all the time.
Hold on, guys.
A musical about their actions. You see how they're like, how he does this all the time. It's so frustrating. It's not a music video. It's not a music video. But he does this. He did this in his entire stream when he actually platformed Timothée Chalamet, when he actually had the terrorists on there. He was talking to them. Like, he did the same type of shit. He was trying so hard to make it seem like it's just normal shit that we're into. Or like he tries to make this guy seem like he's just like us because he's into anime, right? Or he's into fucking like rap music sometimes or whatever the fuck. It's not like he's normalizing it. That's what it is. That's the word I'm looking for. He's normalizing this stuff. He's trying to make it seem like it's totally normal shit and that these guys are somehow the good guys because they're fighting for what they say is freedom, right?
Let's call
completely
it
ignoring
musicals.
all the crimes that they're doing, the war crimes they're
Violent
doing.
jihadists, let's call them musically talented people.
Exactly, bro. You know how many cartel members wear fucking Goku shirts and shit? Bro, it's crazy. It's like they'll fucking do a say and yell before they shoot you in the back of the head out there. And you're not gonna sit here and tell me that they're just like us. They're pretty fucking cool, actually, and I would like to smoke a blunt with them sometime. It's fucking crazy.
They're very musical people.
I know that. Are you being serious?
Guys, let's just use our brains. Fiddler on the Roof, Wicked, Alexander Hamilton, man. There's no reason we can't put these Houthis on Broadway.
Exactly. Why not just put them on Broadway, right?
We're gonna take it. So that's exactly what the Houthis started.
Oh my god. And he sits here, look at, oh god, it's gonna get so much worse. He sits here and tries to explain why they're somehow like completely the good guys. That they do no wrong. That they do no wrong, right? He's gonna get all the information wrong, by the way.
Ships. Bro, they fucking, look at this. They got the Palestinian flag that they painted under the helicopter, the game flag.
Yes, dude. Oh god, you're so right, Soviet. You're so fucking right. Yes. The right wing, which even goes again to prove my other point that this guy has gone full fucking circle. You go far left enough, you end up right. You end up right wing because you end up supporting a lot of the same right wing extremist ideas that they all fucking have. Your actions, your resolutions to problems all end up looking exactly the fucking same, right? It's crazy. You end up supporting each other on what is it? I think there's something for this. There's a word for it. I think it's called the red brown something, right? The red brown shit. It's when like, hold on. What's the politics? red-brown alliance or some shit, red fascism. It's just like they end up going full circle and they end up resembling each other so fucking much. It's disgusting.
And they're like,
Ethan's not doing
no more trade to Israel. If you are sending ships into Israel, if you are owned by an Israeli subsidiary, if you're owned by an Israeli corporation, we're going to take over your ship. You cannot fucking use this trade route anymore. Guess what?
No
bitch?
one,
It's
actually,
our
no,
fucking
fuck that. Not even. No one on Twitch is doing this. Nobody else. Nobody else. He's the only guy. He's literally the only motherfucker. He's the only influencer online right now who's doing this shit
Israel, if
like
you are
this.
owned by an Israeli subsidiary, if you're owned by an Israeli corporation, we're going to take over your ship.
That's wrong, by the way. You heard what we just said there? Hold on.
Under the helicopter with the Yemeni flag, they fucking overtake. They start overtaking the ships. And they're like, guess what, dog? No more trade to Israel. If you are sending ships into Israel, if you are owned by an Israeli subsidiary, if you're owned by an Israeli corporation, we're going to take over your ship.
That ship is not owned by an Israeli corporation. I don't even think that ship was on its way to Israel. I don't even think that was the case. I don't even think that was the case. He's just saying this shit to make it seem like they're doing something that has to deal with fighting for freedom of Palestine. It's not.
You cannot fucking use this trade route anymore. Guess what, bitch? It's our fucking territorial boundary, and we're
They're
gonna
not
enforce
even
this.
in the boundary. That's another thing. They're in international waters. They're in international waters.
So let's review his claims. His first claim is that the boat is headed for Israel. It's not. It's going from Turkey to India.
Yes,
Next claim
there
is
it
that it's
is.
owned by an Israeli company. It's not. It's being chartered by a Japanese company, and the boat's owners are registered in the Isle of Man. I'd like to remind everybody that the crew that's kidnapped in this video has been missing for over a year now with zero updates on their health, whereabouts, or anything.
Now, hold on, though. I want to say this because this is a crazy bit of information, right? You know what he just said, that they've been missing, no whereabouts, no information about them at all. And, you know, Hasan watched them get taken, right? They watched their, like, final moments of a free person. But what's absolutely crazy about all this is 2 days after Ethan dropped this video, I swear to God, they released them. They released the whole crew, right? Miraculously, they're all fine, and they released them back, and now they're safe. They didn't give back the ship, but they released them back, and somehow the Sultanate of Oman had something to do with working with the United States to get them out, which is even more crazy shit, right?
That lines up with leftist values. Hasan's third claim is that this attack happened in their territorial waters, which is also a lie. It happened in international waters. Hasan is lying for the Houthis like he's being paid. And honestly, at this point, is he?
So I'm a propagandist.
That's what we gotta wonder. We have to wonder this. We have to wonder this. Is he getting paid for this?
Yeah, they're
Right?
flexing.
What?
Which says even more. Imagine if Hasan is getting paid for this, what does that say about who he is as a person, right? If he's getting paid for this. He makes a lot of fucking money. This guy makes so much fucking bread, bro. He's flexing his Porsche and his $20,000 shirts and chains and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrent. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're
He's
going to be
not
like, I can't get my
communist.
treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the
He's
fuck
not
is
a
going
communist.
on? I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
I find it disturbing that Hasan thinks that a slowdown of imports is going to cause Jews to flee Israel. 80% of Israelis were born there and do not have citizenship anywhere else.
Again,
so where do you
another
want them to go,
thing-
Hasan? Back to Poland?
Another
Or back-
piece of information that I feel like a lot of people don't think about. Where are they going to go? Where do they go after the fact, right? If they dissolve, if Israel dissolves, if they give back all their land, what do you do with these people? Because they're surrounded by people who don't like them. They're completely surrounded by people who don't like them. They're surrounded by people who do or more don't like them. They want them fucking dead. They want them eradicated from the earth forever, right? That's the kind of people that they're surrounded by. And their culture is right there where they are right fucking now. Where are they supposed to go after the fact? There's nowhere else. If they get this situation, again, it's going to be widespread death.
To the Arab countries they were forced out of.
Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
By telling the Jews of Israel to go back where they came from, Hasan attempts to deny Jewish heritage in the Middle East. It characterizes them not as indigenous, but as white colonizers. This is despite the fact that 60% of Jews in Israel are actually native to the Middle East.
And that shows also his complete lack of knowledge of the region and the culture of the people there.
So these guys did all of this, right? They did all of this. Is that their helicopter? Yeah. That looks like a legit helicopter. It is a legit helicopter.
And he's claimed so many times, he's read all these books and shit.
So they take it over, they take it over, they take it over.
And they tell the people
He's
on the ship,
awkwardly
usually, like,
laughing.
mostly Filipino people,
He's
Filipino
like
crews.
sweating because he's
And
nervous.
they're like, all right, we got no problems with you, but you're coming with us. We're taking over the ship.
What an incredible way to characterize having a gun in your face. Hassan is asking us not to believe our own eyes as we watch terrorists hostilely kidnap the crew.
We got no problems with you, but you're coming with us.
It's so
we're taking over the
fucked.
ship.
And once again, the crew is
It's
still
so
MIA
fucked.
for over a year,
They've been
prisoners to a
found.
terrorist organization. But don't worry, guys. Hassan says they have no
Released 2 days
problem
ago.
with them.
They're like, all right, we got no problems with you, but you're coming with us.
Imagine, bro. Imagine, dude. Imagine the logic. You're being taken for a hostage. There's a gun in your face. There's a fucking gun in your face. What's the next step? You get taken away. You get all your shit taken from you, right? You never see your you're not gonna see your family. You're not gonna go home. None of that shit. Everything's on wonder. You're just basically your whole life is at the mercy of these people that just shut up and put a gun in your face. Like, you really think that these guys are gonna walk in and try to be your friend immediately? He's like, yo, we got no problem, no beef. We're gonna be chill, right? We're gonna be chill. I'm gonna take you home. We're gonna eat grandma's cooking. I'm gonna play some fucking music. We're gonna play the games. We're gonna chill. We're gonna play the GameCube. It's gonna be all good. It's all good. The crazy logic. I just don't get it.
When you say music video, I'm expecting like, are you being serious? I've seen guns and shit. This isn't a music video.
Oh, brother.
I bet Hassan's friend really appreciated being fed terrorist propaganda on camera. Let's see what he had to say.
Because hell, even a couple days ago, I was hanging out with my buddy Hasan, and this guy unironically put a terrorist propaganda music video on it and left the room. And I was just like, and the thing is, like, in hindsight, it's hilarious, But at the same time, I'm like, what is going on here? This is wild to me. Yeah. But like, I just and like, he was like, yo, they're such great dancers.
Oh my god.
I was like, okay. Wait, is that how it works?
It's
If you
like
watch
he's
like
not even. You don't pay attention to the problem. You look at
politics TikTok.
You look at the appealing stuff that surrounds it.
Bro, he's all over
He
the
should have
page.
left. I would have slapped that motherfucker. Dead ass. I would have slapped him on camera, and I would have left. I would have slapped his fucking ass in front of the whole audience. I would have left because that's some bullshit, bro. That's some bullshit. I'm not about to go over to my friend's house and fucking be re-educated by him because apparently he's jumped off the crazy train and decided to go so far left that you can't even see him no more. He's like lost in the sea of red fog and shit. Like, hell no, bro. I would have slapped his ass. He ain't doing that shit to me. Nobody's doing that shit to me. Hit me with the most un-American fucking garbage I've ever seen.
Click it.
Exactly, dude. Like, bro, the audacity, the lack of care.
Oh, stuff, man.
Bro, it's like, I think, you know what I think it might actually be? Maybe Hasan is so delusional, disconnected, he actually thought his friend would think that was cool too. Maybe that's what he thought. But I do know, I can't come to that conclusion because I know I've seen how Hasan treats his friends and people who start to have disagreements with them and make those disagreements public, right? He pressures the shit out of them. He pushes his audience to attack them off camera and stuff like that. And eventually he even burns the bridge if he has to go that far. And it's pretty fucked. It's pretty fucked. There's been like, phone recordings of conversations that somebody had before they stopped being friends because he was doing shit like that. It was really
I don't know if we can.
Here's another incident of Hasan enjoying some Houthi propaganda.
More propaganda. Like, how you gotta be weird too. Honestly, you're a weird fucking person if you're sitting around all day watching fucking war propaganda videos from other countries. That's weird behavior in general, I must say. Like, what makes you want to do that? From a country you're not even from, dude.
How can they not agree with the Houthis when this is the kind of music video that they're coming out with? They got a beautiful voice
They're
too.
not even doing shit.
Yeah, Israel been real quiet since this drop, dude. The fucking mixtape.
The chat is nuts. From the river to the sea, bro, they dropping trailers like it is a new Marvel movie or something. Like, Oh. These edits are fire, not going to lie. They're being silly gooses. This one's funny though. My Yemeni friends who have families still over there say they do not agree with the Houthis. He's gonna ignore that. That guy probably got deleted. I bet you that guy got deleted and banned. Wait, what was that? I saw something that said, Hasan, you're so fucking smart. Oh, I got deleted in the moment it popped up. Wait, let me see if I can find it. Shit, he scrolled down past it. I just saw it for a brief second. Those Zeds are not fire. They're not even, bro, the song, the music, it's not even that good. I'm gonna be fucking real. It's not even that fucking good. He just thinks it sounds good because it's in a different language. Because it sounds exotic. Which goes to show his, what is it? His patronization of countries he's not from, and where he thinks that they're like worse off than him, right? I feel like that's what that, you know, when he does those things, it kind of shines through, you know? It's fucking disgusting. I couldn't find it. I lost it. Oh, right here. Can you fuck my father? Oh, that's what the guy said. I was like, I got trapped.
How can they not agree with the Houthis when this is the kind of
Diet Coke is a red flag. It's the mini one too. That was a weird one. He's just enjoying it like it's
Houthi propaganda.
He's enjoying it like I enjoy my dinner. When I like sit down and I eat with my girlfriend or watch like YouTube videos, he's enjoying it in the same way. It's just so fucking bizarre. Like, if he had a full-time job, I would think that while he was working, he'd be thinking in his head, dude, I can't wait to go home to watch more fucking Houthi propaganda.
Real quiet since this dropped, dude. The fucking mixtape.
Like he's watching a movie trailer, exactly. He's like waiting for the next drop
You
of
say that Jews don't
fucking
sing and dance like
propaganda.
that? Then what the
Slurp
fuck do you
up
call
while he
this?
eats his food. This is Jewish propaganda.
That's right, bitch. What the fuck you stepping on our shit?
Oh god. Oh dear motherfucking lord.
Yeah, Israel been real quiet since this dropped, dude. The fucking mixtape.
Oh my god.
He got a beautiful voice too.
He can't recognize his greatness.
Israel been real quiet since this dropped, dude. Israel been real quiet since this dropped.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him. We got him.
Houthis been real quiet since this dropped, dude.
Houthis been real quiet since they.
Now we come to our sweet, beautiful, cute little TikTok twink. This hairless young man.
Oh my god,
is
this
the
guy.
fantasy of every tween and
He's
tricks and all
purposely
this
dressed
boy-
as like the anime character from Attack on Titan. He dresses like the people from Attack on Titan on purpose.
girls on TikTok. He's cute. He's got a mustache. He's a freedom fighter. Beautiful eyes. They call him Tim Houthi Chalamet because he's a Houthi.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean? Excuse
This
me.
is the most egregious shit that I've seen. I really got upset. Again, I'm gonna fucking hammer this down. I got pissed off at Bernie Sanders that he still went on his stream and let him interview him after Hasan did this.
Of course I'm about to have a... I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism. It's so weird. It's so weird. Motherfuckers want journalism, and when I'm trying to do journalism, they go, why are you doing that? Bro, you are going to get banned? I think it would be ridiculous to do that.
Hasan now has the opportunity to express his journalistic chops, to get his boots on the ground and show us just how good of a reporter he can be.
I'm doing journalism, chat. Does he know what One Piece is?
He's doing journalism.
No way! Yeah. That's sick. Yes. Yes. It's love you too, man. Big time. Yeah.
I love you. I love you so much.
We're big fans of the Yemeni music videos. You tell him that. I want to ask
This is what I mean. He's normalizing this. has the audacity to call himself a journalist when he's not asking any questions, right? He's just asking stupid questions. He's asking questions that you'd ask somebody to get to know them and become their friend, right? That's the approach that he's doing. That's not journalism. This guy, I don't know if we'll see if Ethan talks about this, but he does mention that he actually was hanging out with, or quote unquote hanging out with, he describes it as hanging out with the crew that had gotten taken hostage from the situation we've seen earlier.
The knives are sick. What's up with the knives? You know, the curved knives.
If one of those knives comes out in front of you, it's not going back until it has blood on it.
Oh, okay, my bad. Well, I mean, I think it's cool though.
He thinks it's
so
cool?
Crazy. So they're just chilling with the captains? Like, I don't understand.
The crews on these
chill with
ships,
the
and they
captain?
like win them over with their charm, and they make them hate America and the U.S. government.
That is to believe. Imagine, I can't believe he believes that, or any of his audience believes that. He believes that these terrorists are so charming and so cult of personality that they're able to convince them to not just turn their back entirely on the country that they're from, but to become best friends with these people and treat them like they're chill as fuck. Like, that's crazy.
That's so funny. I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism. It's so weird. It's so weird. Motherfuckers want journalism, and when I'm trying to do journalism, they go, why
They
are
haven't
you
been
doing
home
that?
in a year.
I'm just
They
chilling.
haven't
We're
been
just
home in a
having
year. They're in a foreign country with people they don't know. And they're being held against their will, and their lives are being negotiated for. And like, why the fuck do you think they're just going to become friends
we're
with
just
them?
vibing. Yeah, we're just vibing. We're vibing big time.
Hasan uncritically interviewed this kid for about an hour. It was the most brazen display of disgusting terrorist propaganda that I have maybe ever seen in Western media.
What has happened to, does he know what has happened to any of the crews?
So Hasan, what happened to the captain and crew didn't obey them? He doesn't question that. It's a fucking crazy thing. It's like that's not even possible. It's not even like a option. It's not even fucking physically capable of happening. He doesn't think about that for a second. He doesn't think about what would happen to the people that he claims he supports or advocates for. He doesn't think about what would happen to them if certain situations occurred, right? Everything else played out differently. Like, no fucking shit. Duh. We're going to hear that the hostages were agreeing with and doing whatever the hell it is that the people who are keeping them hostage want them to do and want them to say and want them to think and want them to believe. Like, at the moment that they get this, they don't obey. The moment they don't fucking listen, they're done. They're dead. Like, duh. Fucking duh. Why is that so hard for him to understand? Because he's purposely avoiding it. He has to be capable of it. He has to be. Any other human being is capable of making this connection. He has to be capable of it, unless he's getting paid.
Like I heard
or unless he actually is mentally
But
incapable
it's
of
actually
taking care of
leading to the
himself.
most obscene part of this interview.
He's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he did clout with them, and he danced to music with them, and he was vibing, so he likes them. Yeah.
He danced with the captain. He said, he admitted on stream that he was dancing with the captain of the ship. Like, how much more direct do you need to be? And Hasan spends, by the way, he spends the greater, like, 2-3 weeks after this spinning this bullshit that this kid isn't actually a Houthi terrorist, he's just another Yemeni citizen. Like, how the fuck is it that some random Yemeni citizen managed to dance with the captain of a ship that's being held hostage by the Houthi terrorists that are there, that he's supposedly not?
That's so
a part of?
crazy. So they're just chilling with the captains? Like, I don't understand.
Ask yourself, why is he able to hang out with the captain and the crew of this pirated ship? Why would he even have access to that? Hasan knows why.
Exactly.
Of course, he is a Houthi terrorist. Instead of challenging him and demanding more details about these kidnapped and missing people, he just runs defense for this guy, acting like he doesn't know why that would even happen.
He's saying that they went over the
Like, Hasan
cruise on.
could have used this moment to advocate for peace and the release of these people. Like, he could have. Hasan had so much power in this instance, and he decided to waste it all, sucking this guy off for an hour, and for free, quote unquote free, spreading all their propaganda out into the United States for them.
These
I'll
ships,
fill up
and they
some
like
water,
win them over with their charm, and they make them hate America and the U.S. government.
That's so funny.
It is super funny, the idea of kidnapped crew members who are being forced, probably at gunpoint, to do some death to Americas and maybe some curse upon the Jews. And frankly, the callous disregard for the well-being of the literal hostages is shocking, even for somebody that loves terrorists.
That's so funny. Is there a KFC there? They're everywhere. I don't think there's a KFC in Yemen, dog.
He says they have two.
Look at that.
Oh, they do have KFC in Yemen?
Normalizing.
That's crazy. Okay, that's sick.
Is there a KFC in Yemen?
Normalizing. That's what that is. It's just normalizing. Whole KFC shit. Oh wow, they're just like us. They're just like us.
Holy fuck! There's a KFC in Yemen.
They can't
He's
be.
just like us.
They can't be evil. They can't be the bad guys.
Does he know what One Piece is?
Oh, what if he's been watching it since he was a kid?
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes. That's fire.
That's
That's so
crazy.
fire. Oh my God. We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
Wow, he watches anime, so I guess, you know, him killing people or taking people hostage is okay now.
You guys all remember Luffy's flag, right? Now, I'm only halfway through that show, so maybe I just haven't come to it yet. But I do not remember Luffy's flag looking like this. Predictably, there was some blowback after this interview, and Hasan went immediately into damage control to rewrite history.
He said that he was just simply a Yemeni person and not a Houthi. Yeah, I mean, we don't even know if he's
The downplaying of it is atrocious. It's so fucking atrocious. Like, it's not even close to convincing. Yet, his audience believes it. They just fucking eat it up again and again and again. Just like, oh, how do I say it? How dare I say it? Other MAGA supporters would do with Trump.
a Houthi or not. He's a teenager in Yemen. The dude is neither a Houthi, nor a terrorist, nor a pirate, is not a Houthi rebel. They didn't fucking call him a Houthi either. You wanna know why? Because he's not one. He's not a Houthi himself. He's not a pirate, but, you know, I don't think he's not a pirate. He has reiterated the position that he is not a Houthi. Trust me, bro, I'm not Houthi. Be for real. You sucked him off the entire stream. Not even a Houthi militant or anything like that.
Well, that was the look, all fucking stream. That's all it was.
When I interviewed the dude, who they still to this day call a Houthi terrorist, Tim Houthi's not even a fucking Houthi. I thought he wasn't a Houthi because he's not! No, he was just some fucking Yemeni TikToker. Random fucking Yemeni teenager! Didn't you brand it as him being a Houthi interview though? Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream?
He literally did that. He actually did brand it as one.
Yes, brother. Any teenager.
Blatant. It's blatant. It's so blatant.
Didn't you brand it as him being a Houthi interview though? Bro, are we
so
about to have a Houthi
disgusting.
rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean?
All right, let's just take Hasan's word for it and assume, okay, this kid is not a Houthi rebel. He's just some ordinary Yemen teenager. Let's go ahead and take a look at his social media and see if that lines up.
All right, let's see here. Tel Aviv will burn in the coming hours. Ready?
Social media and see if that lines up.
Check
All
this
right,
out.
let's see here. Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv is not even in this picture. This is clearly AI generated, right? That's not even this picture.
Eve will burn in the coming hours. Ready for sacrifice and eager for martyrdom. Maybe he's talking about football? Here he is singing a song with the words, "Do you threaten us with what we are waiting for, son of a Jew?" Meaning of Houthi is a title, and it's not something to fear, but for the Jews. They are very afraid of this title. The execution we will carry out on all Zionists, with the lovely depiction of a man impaled through his asshole and out of his mouth.
Yeah, that guy.
With a pike.
Definitely
Or,
not a
Hassan likes
terrorist.
to say it, a pike for a cock.
Definitely not a terrorist. No, not him. Can't be possible. Impossible. Kid's not. Let's be real. Middle Eastern terrorist groups mingle among the public in different ways. Military do in the West. What was that? What do you mean by that? What are you trying to say? Yeah, I mean, that's how, like, any types of groups spread their propaganda, right? In order to spread ideology and, I guess, belief or opinion or whatever, you have to go hang out with or talk to other people outside the groups in order to spread that, right? He's 100% a Houthi. He's 100% a Houthi. Like, it's by his acknowledgement, it's by everything. He's 100%. There's no doubt about it. His son's trying to spin that doubt because he's trying to do damage control. What? This is not an argument about being a Houthi. For Hasan, Hasan's not the Houthi, right? The guy that he was with is a Houthi. That he was talking to in the stream is a Houthi. That guy is a Houthi, right? We're not. What are you trying to say here? The problem here is that Hasan is platforming terrorist propaganda and making it seem like this is totally normal and everything's okay. So why would you say or argue this point if you don't even watched it. Not only is the social media littered with Houthi propaganda, right? Not only are there pictures of this guy in full gear walking around with the gun, right? Not only is he stating and restating the actual creed of the Houthi terrorist groups, right? Like, it's not that hard to see that this guy is the Houthi. He's literally telling us that he was dancing with the crew of the captain who was taken hostage by Houthi terrorists. How do you manage as a regular citizen to dance with hostages that have been taken control of by terrorist groups? Like, how could you even think that this is in question? It's not in question. It's not in question. It's a fucking fact. It's a fact of the matter. There's no point in making that point. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no point in making that point because it has to rely on the question, if there's a question on whether or not he's a Houthi, right? Also, I don't know what the whole other point is about hanging out with Houthis without being one. I just don't get that. Is that what you're trying to say? Is he's doing? You're trying to say the Yemenis kid was hanging out with other Houthi terrorists, and that's how he ended up dancing with the captain? That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not friends with anybody that's in a terrorist group. I don't know anyone else who is either. It is part of, I guess, the campaign, right, of a group, any group that's a militia, right, that has a certain ideology. It's part of their campaign to spread said ideology amongst as many people as they can to garner as much support as they can for said group. So, of course, it's natural for them to go out into the public and talk to other people to try to get them to be a part of that kind of shit, right? However, if you're actively participating in everything with that group and you're following them and you're doing that kind of shit and you're supporting everything that they have to say and you're totally bought into it, like, how are you not a part of that group at that point, right? How are you not a part of that group? You're no longer someone who's outside of it, who's just like interacting with them. You're 100% bought into it. Like, I don't think it's unlikely a Middle Eastern kid knows a guy from childhood who became a Houthi. These people often see the terrorists as freedom fighters. That's what they claim they say they are, because that's part of the propaganda. Again, I feel like I need to clarify this is not me condoning Houthis. You should be condoning Houthis. I mean, not condoning. You should be dismissing them. You should be fucking against them for sure. It's just nuance in the part of the world. Yeah, I understand that. But you're not understanding, I guess, what's being said here. Like, I don't understand, like, oh my god. I'm part of a cult called Common Sense of the Dying Cult, yeah. I feel so winded right now. I feel so winded. I feel like you're trying to spin me around right now. It's like, what are you... I don't understand what your point is anymore.
Okay, why would he retweet this article called Houthis use social media to boost global prominence and support? Israel falls.
You should be 100% against this shit.
Right?
You should 100% like state that you're against it if you're going to at least have this guy on your platform, right? Which Hasan didn't do. He 100% supported this, right? He didn't even question any of the bad things they may have done or the negative impacts of this kid and his support for this group or him being part of this group. Like,
knows really
care about nuance,
the ships
maybe
we bombed insane.
there should be a lot more criticism against Hasan.
Military Hamas thing. This is a butt plug. Just saying. To every Zionist, I will put this into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and Zionist is clearly interchangeable to this guy. Okay, but hating Jews doesn't make you a Houthi. Are you a soldier? Yes. That seems pretty definitive. You know what makes you a Houthi? Being a Houthi. At least one of the two of them is being honest about it.
Yep.
No way! Yeah. Sick.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes,
wow.
That's fire.
That's fucking nuts.
Oh my god. You think the Houthis is doing what
There's no question that this kid is a Houthi terrorist. There's no question. There's no question that Hasan was platforming the propaganda. There's no question that he completely supports it. And there's no question that he has any problem with it. Because he constantly is on the defense for it, 100%. He's constantly trying to normalize it all the fucking time. He's constantly denying any criticism against him when it comes to this kind of stuff. And he's completely ignoring the innocent lives that will definitely be killed or have been killed because of these groups, right? Doesn't give a fuck about that. What he cares more about, like I said before, is owning the left, the liberals, right? And I guess accepting payments from whoever is paying him to post all this shit too, because I really don't think he's posting this propaganda for free all the time.
They're tweeting an image of a Jewish person on a pike. I don't understand why this problem can't be approached with nuance, because he is a teenager in Yemen,
Speaking
dude.
of nuance,
Talk about the bigotry of low expectations. He's a kid in Yemen, dude. What do you expect?
Exactly,
Of
he's
course
just a
he's
kid
going
in
to put
Yemen,
a pike through
right?
a Jew's asshole and through his mouth. That's just what kids in Yemen are like, man.
And also, what do you mean? It's just a person on a pike. There's no Jewish person on a pike on that photo, unless I saw something different.
Hassan claims this isn't even a Jewish
do you
person
see
on the pike.
this? Like, how do you
Men are
see
like,
this
man.
and still
also,
question
what do
whether
you
or not
mean?
he's
It's
like
just a person on a pike. There's no Jewish person on a pike on that photo.
the execution that he said we will carry out on all Zionists? That's literally what he said. We. You don't think he's part of that group still? Like, this is his
Person on a
idea
pike. There's
of
no
like resolution to peace.
Jewish person on a pike on that photo, unless I saw something different.
Hassan claims this isn't even a Jewish person on the pike. How exactly is a naked, piked person supposed to look like a Jew for you, Hassan? You know what? You're right. Let me make it a little clearer for you. First, he needs a bigger nose, right, Hassan? Of course, he needs a yarmulke, the curly things. Oh, look, Hassan, he dropped his dreidel. He must be Jewish for sure. Or, you could just read what he wrote, you dumbass, liar, terrorist-loving, propagandist piece of shit.
This is why this entire conversation is fucking idiotic.
It's not that hard to see.
It's not a Jewish
It really isn't. This shit should not be a fucking question. It shouldn't be in the doubt of anything.
person. He said, why am I held accountable for some random fucking 19-year-old in Yemen's tweets? What is happening?
Oh my god, that's not what's happening here. You're being held accountable for hosting his propaganda and the terrorist group that he's a part of.
How many steps removed are we from this situation?
Zero. I mean, you platformed him. Do you not remember? Did the check not clear something?
None.
When faced with fair criticism for his coverage of the Houthi Luffy, he has a total meltdown.
I fucking despise all of you, dude. I do. I really do. I hate all of you. You successfully got me to talk about this, and my patience is running thin on this matter. The endless selfishness, the untapped well of American selfishness and American individualism is in full display. How is this the conversation that you want to have right now?
One of the most cynical methods Hassan deploys to sidestep any criticism is to deflect to the ongoing genocide in Gaza. I've seen him do this so many times. He frames it like you are selfish for trying to criticize him, no matter what the reason is, because there's a genocide happening
we
there.
all got held up on. I feel like this is what really stifled arguments and debate and discourse when it came to garnering support for the Democrats. It's this whole shit. That's why I criticize Hassan even more. And this is where I feel like he's done most of his damage, right? In convincing so many people that we need to equate, just like, before, that we need to equate Harris and Trump, the Democrats, and the conservatives, MAGA, as being equally as bad as each other and just the same, and making it seem like either outcome will lead to the same outcome, which is completely and totally far-fetched from the reality of the situation. Right, he pushed this idea and convinced people who don't even listen to him this kind of shit, because his audience is pretty big, and they themselves do a lot of carrying water for Hassan, trying to spread his ideology and influence around to other people, even indirectly sometimes, right? And when you have this idea going around painting this picture that everything that's happening right now in Gaza Strip and against Palestine is 100% a systematic genocide on untold scale, when it's like definitely not that, and it's definitely a really bad war. It's definitely a tragic war. It's definitely a lot of pointless loss of life that did not have to be extinguished like that in violent ways. And there's definitely a humanitarian crisis going on, but if there was a genocide, we'd see not only just way higher death toll, way worse numbers, but we would also see zero support coming in ever into Palestine. There wouldn't really be any aid groups. There wouldn't be any types of, them allowing to flee from the borders sometimes, or any of that kind of shit. It would just be all death. And last time I checked, it was less than 1% of the population has died so far. It's not to belittle the deaths, it's just to go show that it's not the same as a genocide, and that this phrasing is very important, right? Because if you phrase it as a genocide instead of what it actually is, then the implications of the war and the support for either side changes, right? Because if you're supporting someone who actually does a genocide, that kind of sounds fucked up, right? It sounds like you're supporting Hitler, right? But if they're not actually doing a genocide, and what you're actually supporting is the preservation of a bunch of people to protect them from a different type of genocide that might happen to them, then that's a whole different situation, right? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I would say when I say that, America kind of is, because they're stuck in a situation where Israel ain't really doing a lot of the stuff that they would support, right? But at the same time, if they would withdraw support from Israel, Israel would fall, and a horrific nightmare situation would happen to the people that live there, right? So this is the phrasing and stuff that needs to be taken, right? This is the damage that he's done, because he's completely made it impossible for a lot of Americans in the United States to see it that way, because they're hung up on thinking that it's actually a genocide rather than it's a really fucked up, nuanced war that has the only one solution, I would say, which is the two-state solution, because if one side wins over the other and gets more ground than the other, then, the other side's definitely going to suffer immensely, greatly for it. And that's where the rock and a hard place thing is. It's really, like, we need the international community to withdraw support from not just Israel, but from Palestine. We need to sit them down and force them to agree on the two-state solution, that they have a certain amount of time to figure that out. Otherwise, we're not going to keep feeding them and giving them reason to keep fighting nonstop forever, because they don't have any incentive to stop. They just don't. They just don't fucking have it. Like, Israel needs to stop stealing land, right? They need to fucking stop doing that. They need to stop spreading the fuck out, right? They need to stop killing people they need to, this is something I really am pissed off against Israel. They need to hold their troops accountable for some of the really fucked up war crimes that they be doing sometimes and getting away with. Because I know it's not like a top-down order to start doing war crimes like that, like crazy. It's definitely something that's ingrained in the mentality and I guess the hatred of certain Israelis that live there, and the troops, I guess, or whatever the fuck. But something needs to be done about that, and they need to stop taking land. They need to stop spreading the fuck out. But we need to figure this shit out. Israel is not just complicit in extending the war. Hamas and some of the other leaders in Palestine throughout the years have also extended the war. There has been zero effort from the Palestinian side, as I've seen so far, to actually commit to ceasefire until now. This is like the longest time I've seen that. I think the longest ceasefire was 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. But every other attempt to ceasefire has usually fell out before it even had a chance to start. And again, it does not seem like Hamas at all thinks a two-state solution is possible. That's not what Hamas wants. Hamas does not want a two-state solution. So you can't stop the war if the other side doesn't want a two-state solution, right? So that's another problem. They just don't want that shit. Please follow international law. Stop undermining it. Crazy. Yeah, exactly. They need to stop doing that shit. It makes it really hard to, I guess, argue for the protection of that land and those people, I guess. Just the Jewish people in general, when their armies and military is doing such atrocious shit, when they're doing their, I guess, operations in theater, when they respond so violently to certain attacks and stuff. According to my calculations, just short of that's not a genocide. Yeah, it's not a genocide. And again, like, you can't just blame Israel for extending the war for a long time when Hamas and the military of, I guess, Palestine has it indoctrinated in their belief that a two-state solution is not going to happen, that they have to get all their land back and get rid of Israel. That's what they want. It's on their shoulder, right? It's literally part of their fucking badge. It says it on their shoulder. They even say death to America in there as well, right? Got the death to America, fucking death to all Jews in Israel, and curse upon the Jews and all that kind of stuff. They don't want a two-state solution. They need to be forced into it. And they also need to somehow weaken Hamas, because that chokehold, their fucking corruption on, I guess, the power struggle or whatever the fuck is going on there is really strong, and they're not going to make a lot of progress if they stick around. Yeah, it's barely 1%. Yes, it's barely 1%. If they were doing a genocide, they really suck ass at it. Like, that's what I would think. I feel like they would at least be at like 4%, maybe, or 5, maybe 10 at this point, than just 1%. They wouldn't be letting people out. They wouldn't be fucking allowing, what is it, international communities to send fucking aid and humanitarian aid or whatever, like, all those people be dead, like, nothing would be getting in. Nothing would be getting in, no help at all. If they did that, I'm pretty sure the United States would be forced to actually withdraw all their support. I don't think they would actually keep doing that if Israel was full-blown genociding the Palestinians like that. I just like, how do you defend that? You can't really defend that, and that's why it hasn't been. That's why you still support Israel, because it's not a genocide. It's not a genocide. It's an unfair war. Yeah, it's not a good war. It's a bad war. There's violence. You know, it's not even. The war doesn't even, like. I just don't know how else to phrase it. It's not even, because you can't say. I feel like a lot of people believe that if you say it's not a genocide, then you think it's a just war, and I just don't know why you would make that conclusion either. That one's a very frustrating argument when I have with people. I feel like they automatically assume that I'm totally okay with whatever is bad's happening, because I get hit with, like I say, like, I don't think it's genocide. I get hit with a fucking, oh, but I heard a story, I saw a video where a troop shot this baby in the head and all this kind of shit. I'm like, not denying whether or not this had happened, right? But the labeling what this is important, because it's just, shooting a baby ahead in wartime is fucking horrific. It's a tragedy. It's terrible. It should never happen, right? It should never happen. But that's not the defining factor of a genocide. That's just not, right? If you had, let's say if you actually had, right, trains of people arriving, right, with families, and they're rounding up all the babies, and then they do that, then that's a lot more than that. That's definitely fucking, it sounds pretty genocidal. And they're all part of the same community and shit. Oh, that sounds kind of genocidal, yeah. But also Israel's creating more terrorists, killing, discriminating. Yes, the constant cycle of crisis and response to trauma, right? You're right before Finsby, the nuance of this war, because there's a lot to consider, and why you know, somebody who lives over there might support Hamas or fall into supporting Hamas, or why someone in Israel might fall into supporting IDF, or, like, you know, the positions that they will take in and stuff like that. There's a lot to consider in what's going on, right? But you also have to acknowledge that they went through events that we may not even be able to comprehend and put ourselves into their shoes for, right? And that's the deciding factor. And we need to respond to that. We need to act as if we anticipate this to happen in a war, and try to prevent it from happening as much as possible, right? By acknowledging that it's something that happens in the first place, right? That's how I feel, right? That's how I feel about the war. I feel like for a long time it's always been hard for me to, like, answer that, because I get caught in conversations in real life all the time between people who just start talking about this, right? And, like, I feel the need to jump in and start, like, stating what I'm trying to get at. But before, it was really hard for me to figure out where I actually stood with this, and it took like a while. I had to sit down and kind of just hammer it out, read everything I can, take into consideration as much context as I possibly could fucking find, right? And then kind of just come to this conclusion about where I state right now. And, you know, now I feel a lot more confident talking to people about this in person or whatever. However, it is crazy the level of emotion that some people hold into this situation, despite having done so little research into all of it, and being so far removed from it culturally as a person. Because, you know, you see this passion, this heat, right? That they want something good, and that's totally fine. You know, I understand you don't want innocent people to die and stuff like that. But you would think that you would do a little bit more than just get angry about it when it came to wanting to do something about it, right? Also, Israel is creating more terrorists. Oh, yeah, I already heard that. I mean, there's aspects of a genocide like forced expulsion, denied. Yep, there's aspects, right? You can't look at, that's the thing. There's aspects or symptoms of a genocide, right? But you can't look at one symptom or one thing that's happening that would fit in that list and conclude that because that one thing has happened, it's all happening, right? Or that this is what this is. There's got to be more to it, right? There'll be a lot more to it. And it's got to be also not just more to it, but also, I guess, the intention and the actions that the country is doing, right? I forget what the word is for it. There's like some special like Latin word for it, right? But it's really the intention and motivation in which they act that determines whether or not this is actually a genocide, right? And also the actions in which they do. So like there's so much to it. I have to wrap this up, guys. I appreciate y'all for stopping by, though. If you haven't followed, I hope you do. All right, I gotta head out. I got work later. Oh, dude, I hate that I have to say that. I feel like people jump in as soon as I have to go. You know what? I'll stick around and explain this to you, Destiny, because you asked, and you know, I'm trying to be nice. Real quick, context: Hasan, piece of shit, platforms, terrorist propaganda, Houthi propaganda. Actual Houthi terrorists, tries to spin it as if they're normal people. He tries to simplify it. He tries to downplay the seriousness of a lot of his actions. He also attacks the people online if they don't 100% agree with him. And we were just talking about my position of the Israeli-Palestinian war and why all of this hangs up on that and his disagreement. Hasan believes that there should be a one-state solution, of course, because that falls in line with the terrorist propaganda that he's supporting as well. One-state solution leads to a genocide of Israeli people and the Israeli people, the Jewish people of Israel. If they were to dissolve their state and give up all their land, they're fucked. They have nowhere to go. This is their cultural land. This is where they've lived their entire lives. Nowhere else accepts them. They're surrounded by people and nations that don't like them at all and want them dead, right? So the only solution to this is a two-state solution. The only problem that's getting in the way, Hamas does not want that. The terrorists don't want that. So, you know, why would they have any intention to stop fighting if they keep receiving support from international communities, as well as giving the belief or giving the incentive from Israel, because Israel keeps settling in their lands, right? Israel keeps giving them more incentive to keep fighting as well and doing this fucked up shit. It's just kind of feeding into another. Both sides need to be sat down from the entire international community and be told that they got 2 weeks to figure shit out. Otherwise, all their stuff, all their support, all their things getting taken. They got to figure shit out for themselves and, you know, just force their fucking hand. Fuck Hasan Piker. Fuck the damage he's done. I think Hasan has done a campaign against the guy who made this video. He's been fighting with him for a very long time because they've had disagreements a long time ago. He constantly tries to point this guy out and paint this guy as being way worse of a person than he actually is. And, yeah. Man, what a guy. Is he even human? Unfortunately he is. And, before I got off, I will say this, because this is pretty interesting. The way I know Hasan, right, because I've actually seen Hasan from a very long time ago. I've been following Hasan for fucking forever ago. He was part of the Young Turks. He got his, like, rise to fame from his uncle on there. And I used to follow them in high school. That was, like, when I first started getting into politics and shit. And, he was this super, like, edgy, like, supposedly cool-looking urban guy who fucking had all these, like, you know, communist, like, ideas and wanting to put for, like, you know, stuff or whatever. He just kind of, like, was a showman, you know, that was it. And it's kind of crazy to see how far he's gone. That's the only reason why I know he's a human, because I've seen how he was before and where he is now. I've already had this conversation with Soviet Mind before, right? I hear that and I got annoyed because I feel like it's so irrelevant that people have to, the knee-jerk reaction when they hear about anything or at least pieces against Hasan and stuff like that to talk shit about Ethan, when Ethan in no way, shape, or form even is close to as much as a piece of shit as Hasan. It feels like Hasan propaganda. Like, that's all it is. It feels like Hasan propaganda. Like, Ethan doesn't even do anything close to the fucking toxic shit that Hasan has done outside of his political streams to his supposed friends, and the manipulation that he's done to people, not just Ethan, but other types of people, right? It's fucking crazy. I feel like there's a long list of sins that Hasan has committed, and the only sins I see from Ethan are, like, random shit. Like, he may have said some dumb shit one time, or, like, he gambled, right? Like, I just don't, it feels like this guy's over here, this guy's down here, and when we're talking about how badly this guy's affected not just this dude, but everyone else around him, kind of feels irrelevant to bring up that this guy's committed some sins too. Like, it just feels completely irrelevant. Unless this guy has, like, Unless this guy isn't down here and he's like fucking up here, then I would understand the reason why you have to bring that up. Like, if the person who was criticizing Hasan was like Jeffrey Epstein, then I would be like, fuck this. Like, what the fuck? Why are we listening to Jeffrey Epstein about Hasan Piker of all people? Like, you know, but it's not even close to like that. It's not even close to that. Thank you for the follow, Saboteur of Destiny. I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful fucking day, you know? And for me, it's just that he makes a few points. He's never arguing good faith. Ethan makes a lot of good faith arguments, though. I don't think Ethan's arguing in bad faith at all. Every argument he's made in this video, he usually posts like evidence for it. And on top of that, what's great about Ethan, the biggest difference that I see between Ethan and Hasan, right, is that Hasan is never going to watch videos of him that criticizes him on stream in its full context. He'll never do that. Ethan will play that sub video in its full context and respond directly to it. Hasan won't do that, especially if it damages his reputation amongst his audience or it gets in the way of a type of, I guess, picture he's trying to paint, right? He never does that. He never acknowledges it. He doesn't directly engage with people who would definitely floor his ass with, I guess, like a political facts or whatever the fuck it is for a debate. He'll never actually do that, right? Especially if he's been spending his greater amount of time painting this person to be bad, right? I feel like he's done that definitely towards Ethan. He's trying to make Ethan sound like some fucking racist, fucking like horrible piece of shit who supported all this like terrible stuff. But, you know, most of these claims are like unfounded, or they just painting random pictures and shit. It's like in the air. Someone's been asking Ethan to come debate him, though. I have not seen that at all. And debate him on what? Like, Hasan won't even watch his videos on his stream. Oh yeah, and Ethan's video there is an info about a guy one guy living in Afghanistan. He was actually killed. Oh yeah, the Jewish guy, right? The one Jewish guy that was living there. Yeah, he doesn't live there anymore. He was killed. I don't know if he was killed. I think he was killed, I guess. But something happened to him. He's not there no more. It was just one guy. Right? He won't watch this video. He wants to straight go join a call and debate. Yeah, but why do you think he would do that? If his audience doesn't see, right, the response or the content that Ethan has put out, right? If they don't see that shit, right? He has a lot of control over how the audience will perceive the debate that he has with Ethan, right? They don't get to see the full context, and they also don't get to see the points that Ethan's making, and as well as the actual clips of Hasan making these terrible points and contradicting himself and making himself look like this, right? So he's going to have that advantage when he goes in that debate. If he does that, he's going to be able to say literal bullshit. He could just make up stuff and his audience will believe it, right? And he'll be able to paint Ethan whatever picture that he would like to paint him in because of that. And that's not right. He needs to sit down, go through the content and everything that's being said against him and respond to it on, as you say, good faith, instead of trying to make his audience believe something as somebody, because that's what he does this with everybody. It's not even just Ethan. Like, he's done this with everybody that he's had an issue with and has made criticism against him and that he had a fight with. He tried to like get them directly rather than actually engage with what's being said to him or being held against him, right? Because it's much easier for him to keep painting this, because as he said before, and I'm not taking this is his own words, Hasan is a propagandist. So he's not just painting propaganda for terrorists, but he's also painting propaganda for himself amongst his own audience, which is why a lot of his audience never really has real good criticism, or a lot of things that they say is just based on baseless fucking accusations and shit, right? And it's very frustrating. So I hope that gets to change. I don't know. I don't think it's going to change, actually. I know it's not going to change. Hasan he's been the same way for a very long time. He needs to uphold that certain image. If they end up debating, I don't think that's over. I don't think it's going to do shit. I really don't think. I also think that Ethan's going to get attacked even more. Because remember, at the end of the day, Ethan's the one who has to deal with people approaching him on the street and harassing him and his wife while they're just doing their own thing in public, because they believe that Ethan is such a bad piece of shit and that he's done all these things. That's not true. Hasan doesn't really have to deal with that as much. When does speaking too much of this become treason in the US? It's fucking treason, dude. But we in the US, I guess, the people who are in power decided that they get to rewrite what treason means and play the semantics game with treason to the point where it doesn't mean anything anymore. And you just could fucking be as treasonous as you fucking want to and you'll be applauded for it. This is fucking treason. No, don't get this wrong. This is fucking treason. This is treason like 8 years ago. This is fucking treason. Like, advocating for the destruction of the United States, fucking saying, you know, preying on its downfall essentially and hoping that, you know, all goes to shit, and, you know, like, it's just all this kind of stuff is pretty treasonous. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was America's thing. No, it's not just free speech. I mean, you have to say whatever. Free speech again is governments impeding on your right to say something, right? If you say something and government fucking arrests you for that and sues you, does whatever the fuck, that's infringing on your free speech, right? A societal reaction to what you've said, or just consequences from your job or something else like that, is not the same as being restricted from free speech. Being banned on Twitter because you said something against terms of service, I don't think that's a restriction of free speech. But if the government is doing it, right, that's a whole different fucking story. The government's doing it, that's a whole different story. But even then, we still have instances where it's not the case, right? Because in America, for example, you can't go into a airport and just start screaming bomb and shit, right? You can't do that. That's not technically, you know, you got the speech to do that, but you can't fucking do that. You're gonna get in trouble for that and get arrested, right? If you're going around saying that you're gonna threaten people and kill them, that's something that you can't do, right? That's not the free speech amendment doesn't protect you from that. There's certain things that you can't go into voting booths or go to the voting polls swearing blatant like political propaganda and like with a megaphone just screaming like, yeah, vote Trump, this, that, and third. That's not, your free speech is protected by that, right? You can be told to leave. You're not gonna get in trouble. You're not gonna get arrested like you would and be investigated for like threatening and doing stuff like that. But you will be removed and be told to take that stuff off and come back without having to do all of that, right? And that's been around. That's been the case for a very long time. That's not something that's new. That's been around for over 100 years, right? That's something that's always been the case. Well, I don't understand hate speech. It isn't a thing there, but government can silence you. Yeah, if the government could overstep that line, right, and prosecute you or like I guess hold you in jail or whatever. Oh shit, I gotta go.